Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is JD, and who's here with me?
It's Michelle.
That's
in
right.
Review.
It's Michelle because it's Michelle in review.
In review.
Michelle in review. Yeah. One of these days we'll get that all synchronized, but well, maybe not. I doubt it.
That day is not today.
That day is not today. We are going to talk about a lot of stuff. This is our, for those of you who maybe have never listened to the show before, this is our monthly sort of let's sit down and talk about all the stuff that we saw this month. And Michelle gives us a breakdown of some news and of assorted other things because she's a voracious consumer of content to a degree that, frankly, is absurd, and you'll understand why here in just a minute.
And it's
but
all
yeah,
spoiler free and spoiler light. I've realized I should start saying that at the top because I'm like, oh yeah, people who don't know, it's just like I saw a movie and I liked it. You should watch it.
Yeah,
I saw a movie and I hated it. Don't watch that one.
Any spoilers will be incidental and unintentional. That's the way I like to. We may accidentally go a little too far, but one of us will be like, "Whoa, hey, don't." Typically,
go
it's
back
me.
And unsay that.
Yeah, typically it's me going too far, and Michelle has to be like, "Dude, what the fuck?" For like the 18 millionth time. But I always say, I don't want to take responsibility. I'm a guy. I want to make it seem like this is a group problem.
Oh, that's a little too true. You're like, if you didn't correct me, nobody would know there's a thing wrong there.
Well, some of them would definitely know. Oh, we're such guys, us guys. Anyway.
We are such guys. Me too. Total dude up in here.
Michelle's a total dude. Anyway, so yeah, this is Michelle in review. I always like to start this out by just asking Michelle, what absurd quantity of content did you consume this month?
Well, I am happy to report that after falling off in February and not hitting my quota of 60 pieces of media consumed.
Pause.
Yes.
That's her quota, guys. That's her baseline. Yep. She's like, I'm going to watch at least 60 movies, TV shows, episodes, etc., maybe play video games, read books. 60 things every month. What the fuck? Anyway, so you didn't get there for like the first time in at least the show's history in February, right?
That is exactly correct. But March, I do still want to have the caveat. I am in school and I am spending a lot of time watching math videos instead of other things. And you're right. I did play the latest Yakuza game in March and that cut into that time a little bit. But I finished it now. I 100%ed it.
Full-time job where I'm certain you're pulling more than 40 hours a week.
Full-time, you know I am.
Full-time student, full-time volunteer for multiple causes, co-host.
I actually, the reason that we had to delay recording tonight was because I went to a middle school band concert to talk about the rescue for a while.
Oh my God.
The things.
And then she co-hosts the show, and then she wants to watch a minimum of 60 things on top of all that. Do you ever sleep?
Barely. That is one of the benefits of being me is that I'm like 4 to 6 hours. I'm good. It's either 4 to 6 hours or 15. There is no in between.
That's fair. Anyway, I apologize. I'm just I always want to make sure people understand and have the appropriate awe and reverence for the sheer volume of stuff you do.
I just wish every month could be Spooktober month where I have 100 plus. Like that's my goal. But my quota is 60. So, that said, for March 2025, the total number of pieces of media consumed, 67.
Oh, you made it.
Yeah, I made it. 64 movies, so the majority was movies, one miniseries or TV show, I don't remember which one, I would have to go look at my pivot table, and 2 books.
That's, how long were the books? He asks as if it matters.
Well, one of them is a real thick boy. One of those, it's like, do I have it? Oh, I guess this one's not as thick as I thought it was. That one's a pretty light, rapey book that I'll talk about. I hated it.
Oh, wow.
And then the other one was an audio. No, that one was also a physical book. Where's that physical book? It's beside me somewhere. That one was a hefty boy, though.
Yeah. Oh, right on. Not quite so rapey as the other one?
No, it is very rapey. We'll talk about it. It's supposedly good BDSM, but it is not. It is
Oh,
not,
okay.
and I have some thoughts, and I'm mad
right.
about it.
Fair enough. We'll get there.
Yep.
Where do we want to start today, Michelle?
Well, JD, I'm so glad you asked. According to my table of contents, we have this month's releases as section 1, news, series, which I just say what series I watched, and it was Evil Dead. We did it for the show. Horror in the after times, aka new horror, aka post-COVID, and horror in the before times, aka older horror, aka pre-COVID, non-horror, and literature.
That's
So I
that's the
guess,
running order.
this
Well,
month's releases.
let's just quit fucking around, right? Let's dive right in.
This is what people are here for. Okay. First off, releasing April 4th. I don't know where, probably theaters. Freaky Tales is finally coming out. It did festival rounds. People were praising it highly. It stars my man, Pedro Pascal. And it is 4 interconnected stories set in Oakland, California that tell the story or tell about the love of music, movies, people, places, and memories beyond our knowable universe. That one has been on my list for a very long time. I'm glad it's finally getting wide release so I can
So
see it.
that sounds like a non-horror / horror adjacent title.
Yeah, correct.
Oh, okay.
Since I haven't seen it, I think one of the stories might sound like a horror adjacent one. And that's why, but I haven't seen it. I don't know. I'm just real excited about it.
I'm with you. I don't give a shit. Anything with Pedro Pascal's name on it is worth taking a look at.
It is good to specify though. JD and I just like all the shit. But yes, that one I think is more. It's like a comedy drama thing. Anyway.
Nice.
That one's coming out. I will report back when I see it. The next one I'm so excited for, and we will be covering it on the show, but I just want to make sure people know. 825 Forest Road drops on Shudder April 4th. Writer-director
Cagnetti!
Yes. This is his first non-found footage movie and his first full-length non-Hell House LLC film since 2009. So if you know Hell House LLC, that is all this man's.
Well, yeah, and let's be fair. I think there's one feature he did before Hell House LLC.
2.
Okay, but I don't know what they are.
Exactly.
Hell House LLC is what the dude is known for. He's made 5 of them already.
I couldn't say that was the only thing. I did have to add the caveat.
For sure.
I was hoping they were all shorts, but no. The last Hell House LLC in the franchise is also going to be not found footage. He's deviating and changing it all up and said that the story could not be told in the same format. So I think after seeing 825 Forest Road, I'm going to feel either more confident or less confident in the last movie.
Yeah,
so I'm excited though.
I'm real curious about it. I believe longtime listeners are aware I'm not the biggest fan of the Hell House franchise myself, but the guy's talented, and I'm certainly curious to see what he's going to do next. And also, anytime somebody has spent a significant time in one style, I'm always just curious when they flip that switch to see what else they can do. And so, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Next, my favorite show, Black Mirror Season 7, debuts April 10th on Netflix. In order to prepare, because I cannot stop talking about Black Mirror to people who haven't seen it, I was like, oh, well, I should just put together a list of my favorite episodes. Even though this is the 7th season, some of the seasons are really short. Season 1 is only 3 stories. They are completely separated, although in season 7 we are getting a sequel to one of the episodes in, I believe it was season 4. So one of them now will be a sequel or a continuation of that story. But this is like, it's sci-fi horror essentially. And so out of the 27 episodes total, I tried to make a short list of the best episodes, and here's what I came up with. 9 episodes. I could not shorten my 9 episode list any shorter. So a third of the show is my favorite.
Yeah, I was going to say, remind me again how many total you said?
27 episodes. I have 9. So here's I'm just going to go down the list in case somebody needs to know where to start. 15 Million Merits from season 1, episode 2.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, is she gonna tell us what season and episode it is?
You
but of
know
course
I am.
you are.
Of course I am. That one actually stars Daniel Kaluuya before Get Out, so that was really cool. Rewatching him, being like, oh, I didn't realize the first time because I didn't know who he was.
Is that the one where it's super futury and the dude lives in the room where like all the walls are TV monitors and shit?
Yep. And you
Okay.
have to constantly like drive an exercise bike to earn money to do stuff.
I should be the first season of Black Mirror is the only one I've ever seen. For a variety of reasons, I never got back to seeing any of the others, and then by the time, it's something that's still definitely on my radar. But that first season is the only one I've seen.
I very rarely watch TV shows. I almost never rewatch TV shows, and I've watched the entirety of Black Mirror several times, and I might even do it again in April. All 6 seasons. But okay, so 15 Million Merits, Season 1, Episode 2. The Entire History of You, Season 1, Episode 3. That is a story where all of your memories are recorded and can be played back, and that is terrifying. White Bear, Season 2, Episode 2. I believe that's the one where the lady wakes up in a house with no memory and people just recording her on their cell phones and she doesn't know why. White Christmas Season 2, Episode 4. The episode that gave me nightmares. Let's just say nothing about it. Actually, no, go into that one blind. Playtest Season 3, Episode 2. A guy signs up to play what is called the scariest horror game, and it's because it adjusts to what you're afraid of to get slowly scarier. Shut Up and Dance, Season 3, Episode 3. A guy starts getting blackmailed over text message to do certain things. Hang the DJ, Season 4, Episode 4. It's kind of a romantic thing. I like that one. Black Museum, Season 4, Episode 6. It is a woman who goes to a black museum, so about like black people's history, and talks to the guy there about the different things that are in this museum. Beyond the Sea, Season 6, Episode 3. I have to rewatch this one, but it is Josh Hartnett, and he and this other guy basically live in this space station, but they can go back and forth to like a guy's body and get a little bit of a reprieve. And that is very complicated and weird, and I have to rewatch it. So those are the 9 best episodes of the 27 episodes total.
So there was a second one that you mentioned from season 1 about recording memories. I don't I remember
Entire
that
History of You.
I remember that element, but what I can't remember is what my personal favorite episode I remember from season 1.
The pig.
No, not the pig.
There's only 3 episodes.
There's only 3?
Season 2. Yep.
Maybe I have. So the one I'm thinking about is there's like a lady and her husband dies, and that's all I'm gonna say. Because from there is where
I know exactly which one. Yeah, that's season 2, episode 1. So maybe you just saw like one.
Yeah.
episode.
Okay. No. I then I've seen so there's 3 per season.
Not all of them. 2 has 4, but I know season 1 was only 3.
Then I've definitely seen 1 and 2 because I saw that one. They must have been grouped together, and I just assumed they were a single season. But yeah, that
because
one.
Because it seems like it should be longer, but no, that's season 1 and 2.
So, and was that one that you had mentioned?
That one was not on my list as one.
I remember
so that's
that one.
It's another one.
Yeah, that one just. What's that one called? The one.
Be Right Back.
Yes, Be Right Back. I remember the name for sure. Yeah, that one just it stuck out to me, at least out of those ones that I watched, as for me a real standout.
Oh, the 2 ones I mentioned from season 2, White Bear and White Christmas. Oh, I didn't even realize that they were the same kind of format. But White Bear and White Christmas are both very traumatic. Those fucked me up, and it's why it's my favorite show.
I also I feel like at this point everybody is probably fully aware of the pig episode, but I thought it was kind of overblown, to be totally honest. Aside from that one gimmick, I don't know.
That's fair. You guys just really watch the very first episode of Black Mirror, and if you don't like that, watch the second episode. And then if you don't like that, watch the third. Listen, just watch all of it.
Keep watching until you like one.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And if you don't find one you like within the first 2 seasons, I don't know what to tell you, man. Cancel your
Right.
Netflix subscription. I
Because
don't
it is
know.
anthology, right? Like every
Yep,
episode is a self-contained story. So
exactly. So you can skip around. That's why I was like, I will tell you my 9 favorites, and then you guys can choose what you want to watch. And maybe none of those. Maybe you just want to watch the one with Miley Cyrus. Go for it. The one called Joan is Awful. That is very meta Netflix. That one was season 6. You know, there's a whole
wait,
bunch of them out there.
Miley Cyrus was in an episode of Black Mirror?
Yes, season 5, Rachel, Jack, and Ashley 2. She is a little pop star robot. That's like an AI
Oh, so she
creation
plays
based.
herself.
Yes. Yep.
Ha! I see what
Yep,
I
that's
did there.
exactly
I'm so
that's exactly it.
clever.
But yeah, Miley Cyrus voices
Cool.
the character. And it's
All right.
it's a weird one.
What's
Okay,
next?
so enough about Black Mirror. Next, apparently TV shows with colors in the name because this and White Lotus. So Black Mirror, White Lotus, and Yellow Jackets. It is a colorful. So Yellow Jackets season 3 finale April 10th. I get my White Lotus finale in I think this week, maybe tomorrow. So
Is
it's
that the
gonna be a
show where
real
everybody's
good time.
fucking?
Yes, I mean, yeah. It's a resort. So there's definitely a lot of sex in it. But it's people who are too rich and don't know what the fuck reality is all about and just their different stories on this island, and each season is self-contained. I mean, there's some of the same characters because it's still that resort staff, but oh man, it's so funny and so good.
Apparently, and I just know this randomly because I saw a headline and for some reason it stuck out in my head. Apparently, the guy who composes all the music for that show just quit because he and Mike White have been like at odds and like furiously banging heads with each other for 3 years. And I'm like, man, what a life that's got to be, right? When you're making TV shows and there's a big feud between the composer and the director to the degree that like one of them quits their job.
Oh,
Man.
banging heads. I guess the characters in the movie aren't the only ones banging.
Okay, anyway, continue.
Moving on. Hell of a Summer, April 18th, written and directed by Billy Brick and Finn Wolfhard. Comedy horror. It is a modern day campground slasher film. The trailer actually looks pretty good. We'll see. The thing is, oh my god, my voice cracked. Am I a 13-year-old boy?
Yes.
Finn Wolfhard has done some stuff I don't like, but he's done some stuff I like. I'm curious. Let's see
Well,
what this one's about.
he's done some stuff I like as an actor. Like this, my reaction to this was initially when I heard about it, I was like, oh, so they're just giving the hot kid star who's coming up. It's like, oh, he's gonna write and co-direct a movie or whatever. And I was like, that's a little dubious. And then I did see the trailer, and I was like, okay, this could be worth a watch. So I'm cautiously optimistic about that one. But anytime some actor that who's just become quickly popular just is suddenly writing and directing, the best I can ever get to is cautiously optimistic.
And here's something that I completely forgot because I got all my people mixed up. So I thought Finn Wolfhard had written slash directed When You Finish Saving the World. But no, that was Jesse Eisenberg, a different awkward actor, was a writer director. And Billy Brick, who wrote Hell of a Summer, starred in When You Finish Saving the World alongside Finn. So I'm just getting all my people discombobulated, but it's their fault for doing that to me. But When You Finish Saving the World, I listened to it as an audiobook, and then I watched the movie, and I felt very tepid both times. So.
There's well, you can take that one to the printers. A very tepid read.
Yeah,
Michelle, we watch Shudder.
And the crowd went mild. Okay.
I want to do that with something sometime. I want to or I wish somebody would you write a book and they always got blurbs and stuff on it. I want somebody to just put all the bad ones. It's fairly milk toast.
Exactly. Read it before. We'll never read it again. Next one. Oh man, these last 3 I am so excited for. So first one, Sinners, April 18th. Ryan Coogler, who wrote and directed one of the best Marvel films, Black Panther, as well as Wakanda Forever and Creed, which I still have not seen, but I keep hearing good things about. It's just not the type of movie I usually watch. It stars Michael B. Jordan. The trailer looks intense. I think it's vampires, but I don't know for sure. That is one that every time I went to the movies in March, that was a trailer they played before every movie I went to see, and every time I was like, "Oh, that looks so good." It takes place in like, I don't know, the 1800s. What is time? The older days, the pre-COVID. It takes place back then, and oh, it looks so good. It looks real good. I'm excited.
Yeah, I haven't seen a full trailer for it, but the little bit I have seen, I'm definitely excited for.
Looks so good. And then next, this is one that JD and I are probably going to have opinions about. Good opinions, bad opinions, any opinions at all. Who knows? The Shrouds. April 25th, the latest from David Cronenberg, written and directed. Harsh, an innovative businessman and grieving widower, builds a device to connect with the dead inside a burial shroud. The Shrouds.
Okay. I mean, it's
excited.
Cronenberg, right? So he's always going to get a shot anyway.
Exactly. I just it's going to be really funny because you were so excited for Crimes Against the Future, Crimes Against Humanity, Crimes Against the Future, right?
Crimes of the Future.
Crimes of the Future. Thank you. You were excited for that. I went in not thinking I was going to like it. I loved it. You did not. Let's see how we feel about the other modern Cronenberg movie and how that will happen. I'm just excited to see how we feel.
Well, I mean, the nice thing about Dave is that at the very least, I mean, he's always going to bring something fucking weird to the table.
Exactly.
He's definitely a guy who does his own thing.
Yeah. Good old Dave.
Good old Dave. Our buddy Dave. Canada Dave, we call him.
Yeah, we definitely call him Canada Dave when we're just hanging out, drinking beers on
Dave
the porch.
Canada, yeah. Anyway.
Dave Canada. Okay, and then the last one. I'm a huge video game nerd. Until Dawn, April 25th, the adaptation based on the video game of the same name. I hope it's good. God, please be good. It's an absurd concept where they just have to keep reliving the night over and over until they can survive until sunrise. And they know they're reliving the night over and over again. They just have to figure out how the fuck are we going to survive? So they die and then they come back. And then they die and they come back. And they're like, that didn't work. What do we do now? I'm excited for that.
So
the video game's really fun.
It's a time loop movie.
Yeah. But it's based on a video game. I love video games.
Well, that's I'm sold.
Yeah, based on a video game.
Did you
yes.
Did you hear Michelle? You said that was the last bit you had in this section. I'm sorry.
Yes, the last of this month's releases. There's a lot more stuff on my list, but those are the ones I'm most excited.
I thought we were talking about news. You're talking about specifically things coming out this month. Okay, I'll hold my tongue then.
It is a thing I added last month, so it's very new.
Gotcha.
But that way, if people just listen this far, they know, like, these are the ones I should maybe put on my radar, because I'm excited. I actually only have 2 things in the news section. I'm still getting used to writing down things that I think other people would find interesting. And also, like, we're kind of getting past festival announcement season, so a lot of the things were, like, Sundance that I already talked about, and they're just getting played at different spots. So, 2 things announced. The Ghost. No idea how to pronounce the actual name, but it is the first Irish horror film. And that's how I know, no matter how I try to pronounce this name, I'm not going to say it right. So I'm not going to bother.
No, it's not.
The Ghost? Oh, yeah. I mean, maybe the first mainstream. Nobody in Ireland knows how cameras work.
Nobody in Ireland in the history of film has made a horror film. Give me a break.
No, they kick them out of the country. If they, camcorders are illegal and they go, you can't have them. And they send them to England, and that's why England has so many movies and Ireland has none. This person made a movie and smuggled it out of the country.
So, by the way, I just Googled Irish horror films. The first article that comes up is from Fangoria in March. The Irish New Wave of Horror, 17 films at the forefront of the Irish horror invasion.
You know what? I like the clickbaity title. I don't care.
What was a horror movie? Caveat. That's Irish.
No.
Grabbers, The Hallow, The Hole in the Ground.
Look, I don't know I'm mostly saying because it sounds good. Here's the IMDb description. Amid the barren landscape of post-famine Ireland, maybe that's what they mean, based in Ireland and that being a big deal? Anyway, a father and daughter struggle to survive the brutal winter as caretakers of a remote mansion, only to be driven to the edge of sanity by the horrors lurking within. And it's going to have Irish accents, and that, I have to see it. The Irish accent is one of my favorites.
My only issue is the claim that it's the first Irish horror movie.
I know, but I like that clickbait title, so fuck it, I'm running with it. Nobody else in Ireland has ever been. TikTok is banned. Their phones get delivered to them with the camera function disabled. Somebody once tried to draw on a bunch of pieces of paper and make a little flip book, and the book lit on fire. No movies have ever been made in Ireland. And then the next one.
Oh, no, Michelle, you may have misread this because I just did a little deeper Googling. It has the distinction at the time of writing and release of being the first horror film in Irish. So the whole thing is in Irish language. That makes more sense.
That sounds even crazier to me, though.
Yeah, in a way, it does.
Has ever.
Right?
That sounds weirder.
Yeah, it's nobody has. Well, I don't know. I guess once you accept that there are Irish horror films, it's weird that there's never been one in Irish.
Well, I mean, I still haven't accepted that there's ever been an Irish horror film, though.
Oh, well, there have definitely been a lot of Irish horror films.
I don't know about that. English, Irish, otherwise. Well. My other one, okay, this is the craziest news. Okay, that's why there's only two things, because this one, I went, what the fuck? So, Night of the Living Cat, like Nyan Cat, Night of the Living Cat. It is coming out on Crunchyroll because it is an anime. The Crunchyroll description: run, the adorable cats are here. In 20XX, the world is dominated by cats. A virus which turns anyone who touches a cat into a cat has spread into a worldwide nyandemic. Cats rub against people, turning them into cats. Can humanity fight their urge to pet cats to survive in this cat-ridden world? First off, no, I can't. It will be, hang on, and I have not even gotten to the crazy part. Getting released on Crunchyroll, because again, it's an anime. It is based on a Japanese manga I've never heard of and now need to read. You ready for the crazy bit? Executive director Takashi Miike.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm not surprised. Miike's a fucking weirdo. But,
Night of the Living Cat.
There's
I have
actually
a Crunchyroll subscription. I'll be watching it.
There's actually a movie that I just recently put on my my Tubi list. That's a Miike movie called The Great Yokai War, which looks definitely totally different from a lot of the Miike that I know, but it looks definitely pretty interesting. It'll get watched sooner or later.
I like Miike. I'm so glad you introduced me to him.
He's a madman.
He's real good. Yeah, I had no idea.
By the way, I also did some quick checking there, and that Irish language film, the name is pronounced Antaisha.
See, I knew I could get the A-N part at the beginning, but I am very bad at Irish/Gaelic.
Here's what I feel like happened is when they started translating Irish stuff into English, the Irish were like, fuck the English, and just made their spelling super weird.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Like, your rules do not apply. Our friend Jess, Hawks Homestead Jess, yes, more animal rescue stuff. She speaks multiple languages, and one time when I went to visit her, she read a Dr. Seuss book to me in Irish. And it's one of the coolest things. I think it was Green Eggs and Ham, but I'll have to ask her. Nice. But she just has a bookcase of books written in other languages, and that was real cool. Jess is multi-talented. Do you have stuff for the news section?
Yeah, I was just going to mention, I'm pretty sure he's just an executive producer on it, but they just announced recently that Jordan Peele is involved with a new movie called Him. First of all, I don't know what it is with Jordan Peele and one-word movie titles, but, whatever. But it's all I know is it's a Jordan Peele-involved horror movie called Him, and it's about a football player.
starring Marlon Wayans.
Oh yeah, starring Marlon Wayans. I knew that part too. So it's like I don't know, man. All I know is Marlon Wayans, football player, horror movie, Jordan Peele. I'm already sold, man.
I don't think I have ever gone to IMDb and under the genres seen just horror and sport.
Right. This is a football horror movie. In fact, you probably could have sold me on that alone. Football horror movie.
Yeah, this is horror sport. Okay. Like sometimes people play football in movies, horror movies, but very rarely do they. The football's haunted. Oh, I hope him is in reference to the football, and the football is sentient and like, please stop throwing me, it hurts. But they won't, and he's just trapped as a football. And one day he gets kicked too hard, and he explodes, and now he's sentient, but in multiple pieces. Dude, I just need to write movies.
What if
Give me money.
What if we go the other way though, and the ball is him? I'm with you there, but what if the ball is him and the ball is the villain, and all the football players are enslaved by the ball to play like football to the death?
I could get behind that. That sounds great.
Like there's like no contact rules, and your goal is to like break people's backs and necks and arms and legs and stuff and get them taken. Like it's just super ultra like deathmatch wrestling, violent football.
First off, that's how I wish football was in general.
Why
secondly,
not?
Secondly, I'm not going to read the IMDb description, but you might be on the right track based on what
Jesus.
that says.
Oh Jesus! What immediately because the poster, the promo image they put out just has a football in a case.
Exactly. That's him.
That's
From
him.
Producer Jordan Peele. Ooh, the football has blood on it.
Uh-oh. Maybe it's
no.
about a slasher who beats people to death with the football.
That would be such a terrible death because that is not a sharp object.
No, and it's not even a really stiff, blunt object either. That's gonna take
and trying to get like a good handle on that thing to like hit somebody with it enough to make it hurt.
I bet you could do some really interesting damage if you put the tip of one of the tips of the ball like right on top of somebody's eye and just kind of. But
yeah,
I don't know if you'd kill him though. Anyway, we've gotten so far off the beaten path here.
This is Michelle in Review. This is what we do. This is why people like it.
I know.
You weirdos. That was so nice that so many people said Michelle in Review is their favorite episode.
Yeah, I mean, I thought very obviously trying to get people to talk about which of the movie releases coming up they were most excited for. But
why do we even bother putting out other episodes?
Yeah, well, fuck it. We'll just do
bullshit.
Once a month. This is a once a month podcast now. We're just gonna do this.
Once a month, I will time it so that I am PMSing and hate everything, and then we'll put out the episode. That's gonna be the thing. That's the gimmick. Okay, I'm ready for horror in the aftertimes. Are you?
Horror in the aftertimes. This is like 2020 and forward is what we're talking about here, right? Or is it 2021 and forward?
Each month it changes because I can never remember what I want to consider the start of COVID. So somewhere between 2019 and 2021.
Yeah,
okay, so actually a lot of things that definitely are new. Horror in the aftertimes. The first one, Companion, became available to rent. I liked it. I see why people gave it so much praise. If you didn't hear about Companion, it's about that lady from Yellow Jackets. Remember season finale coming this month? I think her name's Sophie Thatcher, if I'm remembering off the top of my head. But she meets her dream dude, and then she goes to meet his friends, and things are awkward. And then some stuff gets revealed about what their relationship is all about. And it also stars Jack Quaid, and I will have way more to say about that man when we get to the non-horror section. But Companion, I see why it got such rave reviews. That was a fun movie with a fun message.
Yeah, I'm still looking forward to see that one. Did you say it's just on video on demand?
Yes, I don't think it's available for streaming on any of the sites yet.
All right, but yeah, it's definitely on my anticipated list.
Yes.
What else you got?
Is that your dog?
Yeah, Riley's.
He's like quacking.
No, he's. It's like he's got it's like he's got a hairball or something, or he's about to vomit, but he's been doing it all day and nothing's coming up, and then he stops and he's just fine. It's so weird.
Dogs are great.
Yeah, dogs are the best.
I was just like, do you have a duck in your room, or is that Riley? I'm
No,
not positive either way.
It's
Okay.
Riley. Now he's having conniption fits rolling around on the bed. It's hilarious.
I love dogs.
Like he's in the grass.
This next one, you have opinions on, and I watched it way after you did because I wanted opinions, and I did not see it in the theater, and I don't remember if you saw it in the theater. I think you did. Presents from 2024.
I did not. No, I didn't see it in the theater.
You just rented it?
Well, no, I watched it through illicit
it.
means. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I found it.
You found it. It's available to rent for anybody who missed Presents. It is a story told from the perspective of a ghost in a haunted house. So you are watching what this ghost is watching. And here's what I'm going to say about that movie. When Skinamarink came out and I defended it endlessly, I said that I was very interested in seeing how horror history evolved, because now we had this really experimental film that got mainstream attention, was actually available in bigger theaters, and whether people liked it or not, it was different. And I feel like Presence, whether it was created before Skinamarink and just like came out much later, I did not look. But I feel like this is one of the things where people saw Skinamarink and went, "Yeah, I can do like some weird shit. They'll do it." So it's cool. I like that we're getting different things. I did not enjoy it. I won't watch it again, but I do praise it for doing something different. And I don't know, like maybe if you did this in a VR headset, like a completely different, like really make it a surround experience where I'm just, these are my eyes and this is what I'm stuck watching for an hour and a half, like that, like get even more experimental with it. But I like when we get new artsy weird shit. I just didn't enjoy this film in particular.
Yeah, I talked about this one back in the January Michelin review because I saw it way back then, and I was very torn on the movie because there's a lot of it I really really like, but there are a couple of specific decisions they make and things that they do that like happens with me sometimes. They're just the wrong kind of details that sort of upend enough things for me that it's like, man, like. That movie, my opinion of it would have been so much higher if there were just a couple of things that they did that they just trimmed out that didn't need to be there, in my opinion. But I do appreciate what they were trying to do, and I thought it was an interesting idea. I'm personally way more interested in the movie you talked about last month coming up about the haunted house movie told from the perspective of the dog. Yes.
Yeah, it's a dog
apparently.
Central,
Yeah, that
episode.
Apparently got rave response at its screening at South by Southwest.
That is one of the movies I'm most looking forward to. It's like top 5 on my list of movies to see from this year, because I have also been hearing really good things. Is it Sundance? I think it's Sundance, not South by Southwest, but they are moving Sundance to, I think, Boulder Springs in 2027. Okay. My bestie lives in Colorado,
is that where Aaron lives?
I might finally go. Yep, he lives in Colorado Springs, but it's all the same. It's still a journey from here.
Colorado.
So I'm like, yeah, I talked to him. He's like, yeah, I totally go Sundance with you. So I might finally go to like a big film festival, but I got to start saving now because I think Sundance is one of the spendier ones where it will be thousands of dollars, but it's worth it for the experience. Just a little bit of money. Okay, then my next one, The Parenting from 2025, is available on HBO Max. It is a horror comedy, emphasis on the comedy, definitely more comedy than horror. It's been kind of a running joke on this show because I'm like, I don't think I even like comedy because it's so rare that I watch a comedic movie and enjoy it. This is hilarious. It's campy and absurd, but with a great cast, and just every joke really landed for me. Here's some of the people in this. Nick Dodani from Atypical. Fucking love that show. Brandon Flynn from 13 Reasons Why. Brian Cox from Succession, and also The Electric State, which I just watched. And let me say about The Electric State, Hollywood is out of ideas. Edie Falco from Nurse Jackie, which I loved. Lisa Kudrow from Friends, duh. Dean Norris from Breaking Bad. Parker Posey and Vivian Bang. Man, it's a real good cast. Anything Lisa Kudrow is in. I've never even seen Friends. I've seen snippets, but I just like her. I like Lisa Kudrow. She's good.
Cool.
Cool. Okay, onwards. Delicate Arch 2024 became available on Screambox. I actually watched this one twice because the first time I watched, I went, "What the fuck did I just watch?" and had to do it again. Here's my theory: is that Matthew Warren, who was the writer and director, watched The Outwaters and went, "Yeah, I can do that, but better," and then put out this movie because it's also people losing their fucking minds in a weird universe out in the desert. I don't know if he did it better, but there's definitely some like huge like similarities between the two. But I just love metaphysical horror where the audience becomes part of the action. And when I was looking into more of this film, I saw somebody describe it that it's a Lovecraftian nightmare, and I can get behind that 100%. That was a real weird movie, and like I said, I watched it twice because I was like, "What the fuck did I just see? I need to process that," and then paid way more attention the second time. But Delicate Arch on Screambox from 2024.
Delicate Arch. Is that one where it's like, oh, what the fuck is going on in this movie?
Yeah.
Cool.
And you know what the fuck is going on in this movie, or is reality real, or how the fuck is time working? Like anything where you're like, what the fuck is going on? This is not like yeah.
I should probably take a look at it and see what I can dissect from it. You mentioned The Outwaters there. That's interesting. It's a movie I've been actually thinking about a lot because I still haven't seen it since we saw it in the theater. I saw it just that one time, and I remember it wasn't. I wasn't totally against it. You gave it a 5. I gave it a 3.5 at that time. But I've really been thinking about it, and your husband, my good friend John.
Yes,
he had an observation about that movie that was so keen, just like so shockingly keen that, and I don't know what made me think of it, but I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and I really want to go back and watch it a second time. And see what my reaction to it is. There's a part of me that suspects that maybe there are some things that I should have seen that I didn't see because the theater wasn't projecting the film properly, because that happens all the fucking time. It happened to me with The Witch. It's happened to me with several other movies. But I want to see it again just to sort of look for those details, right? Because I think John knows exactly what happened in this movie.
Yeah, he like, we left the theater and I was the only one who really liked it. Everyone else was like, I didn't like it. And John's like, I didn't like it, but I figured it out. And then immediately gave us his theory. And I was like, John, what the fuck? He's like, I don't like it, but this is exactly what's going on. It's not like a what the fuck thing. Is it not obvious? And I'm like, what the hell? And blew our minds. And you can go listen to our Outwaters episode if you want to hear about that. But so many people have talked to us afterwards and been like, holy shit, he nailed it.
Yeah, here's what's impressive about it is there's one shot in the whole movie, and it lasts about a second and a half, that tells the whole goddamn story.
Yep.
and if you're not paying attention, and I even, when he mentioned it, I remembered the shot. I saw it, nothing ever registered in my head about it. Nothing at all. I was just like, oh, that's interesting. I did say at some point, oh, I bet that's got something to do with what's going on here, and then they never did anything with it, so I just let it go. And that's the thing, is the more I think about it, I don't think that's a movie about what's happening. It's a movie about these characters and about their lives, and it's what's happening to them is just kind of how the story is being told to us. Yep. And so I want to go back and see it again, but there's a little side trip out onto the Outwaters.
Is that if John's theory is not something that Robbie Banfitch had in mind, he can just have that theory and tell people like it was 100% right because it fits so perfectly.
I'll tell you this much. I'm obviously not the only one that he reacted to, but a while back, Robbie Banfitch had done a thing on Twitter where he asked people, like, if you were going to summarize if you were going to try to explain what you think is going on in the Outwaters, like in a concise, like just a couple of sentences, what would you say? And I ran through a short version of basically what John's theory is, and he gave it a thumbs up reaction. You know, he gave it a like. So I don't know if You know, maybe.
I'm taking it. I'm saying 100%.
Yeah, I think, it's such an incredibly keen observation. I was fucking blown away.
It's annoying that he didn't like it and he figured that out. Do you know how annoying that is?
Well, I mean, it's like, also...
I loved it. And he's like, yeah, but here's exactly what it was.
Well, and you know me, like being that guy who sees the details and sorts them out is kind of like a thing that I try to do. Right? I value myself on my ability to do that. And this one, I missed this one fucking completely.
Yeah. What a annoying thing that he figured it out and we didn't.
I know.
Okay.
And he didn't even like it.
I know. I don't get it. Okay, so we have one last movie on my recent movies. And again, one I had to watch twice because what the fuck? It was a good month for movies, let me tell you. I'm just going to spell this name first before I attempt to pronounce it because I'm not sure where the correct emphasis goes. But it is Abruptio. Abruptio?
I believe it's Abruptio.
Abruptio? See, I was not going to get that one at all. Abruptio. So this is on Tubi. It is very weird, creepy human puppet hybrids. And it gives off this massive uncanny valley vibe that already had me hooked. It's very, because it's like human bodies with puppet faces sometimes. It's so weird. And it's this guy who starts essentially being told that he has to kill people. We'll just say it that way. And that if he doesn't, he's going to die. This cast of characters who did voices. James Marsters, I think you know that name because that is Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But more importantly, Lord Piccolo in Dragon Ball Evolution, that movie that has like a 2.5 on IMDb. Yes. Which now I want to see Snow White so badly because it is so, and I know like the people who gave that review have not actually seen it. I'm probably gonna be like, man, whatever, it's a movie. But I need to see it now. But other names, Christopher McDonald from Happy Gilmore, Hannah May Lee from Pitch Perfect. I'm just naming the things I know them from. Jordan Peele does some voices. Sid Haig, Captain Spaulding, and Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger.
Wait, how old is this?
2023.
Okay, because I was going to say, isn't Sid Haig dead?
Yeah, but I think it was 2024 when he passed.
Fair.
Yeah, but oh my god, I love that movie. I put it on my need to buy list because it's real fucked up and I like that.
Physical media is dead, Michelle.
No, physical media is very much alive because there are some things that people cannot watch that I can because I have them.
I just got distracted while you were talking about that movie because Riley started hacking like he was going to die again.
I heard. I talked through it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, nobody on the podcast is going to hear it. They're going to hear us talking about it, but I was going to silence it. Yeah, the poor guy. Yeah, I don't know what the heck's wrong with him, but if it keeps up too much longer, we're going to have to get him checked out.
Yeah, poor Riley.
Well,
that is horror in the aftertimes. Do you have some stuff for horror in the aftertimes?
I know actually. You do. Yeah, I watched a lot more movies this month than I typically do, and most of them were horror in the aftertimes. I'm not going to mention all of them because, frankly, I didn't care for a few of them, and if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything. But a couple that I do want to mention specifically. One of them that I saw was The Autopsy of Jane Doe. We're going to come back around to that one because Michelle said she definitely has some things that she wants to talk about on that. But these are all movies that I saw for the first time that I'd never seen before. I did go back and watch that movie Do Not Disturb that you mentioned on last month's Michelle in review. That movie is fucked. It's so goddamn weird. But also like I'm still not 100% sure I know what was going on in that movie, but
I like that. I like a movie where I don't understand.
It was a good time. I enjoyed it. I rated it 3.5 out of 5. It's definitely a movie that like if you like weird trippy shit, I strongly suggest you check it out. Also, one that has been on my list since I first saw the promo art that I've been meaning to get around to, even though I'm well known as not the biggest found footage fan. I saw Frogman. Have you seen Frogman, Michelle?
I have. I saw it immediately when it hit streaming. I like available for rent streaming. And I think it's free now a couple places, but I need to
Yep.
rewatch it because the way that you and Jenna were talking about it, I was like, I don't think I appreciated that movie enough.
I love this. It was super good. I gave it a 4 out of 5 on my Letterboxd list. It has the same issues for me that a lot of found footage movies have for me that I've talked about a million times before, in that the first 45 minutes to an hour for me could just about not be there, right? But once this movie gets going, I love it. It's got rad practical effects in it. It does this smart thing where they're using a video camera from like 1998 to shoot the movie, but they justify it so what's the word I'm looking for? It'll come to me later. Yeah, but there was a specific adjective I was looking for, but it's just so efficiently and so simple. There's one line, and once he says it, it's like, okay, that's literally all I needed. Now I'm on board with why they're using this 19 whatever camera in 2023. I thought it was a very inventive production. I like I said, I love how it completely goes off the deep end. Really, really liked Frogman. I strongly suggest people check that out.
They have announced a sequel coming out too.
Oh, no kidding?
Yep.
Also,
I think it's called like Frogman Returns. IMDb just says Frogman 2, but I think I've been seeing stuff about Frogman Returns or something along those lines.
I also found out that the fellow who made that movie is from the Twin Cities. And he also, he's from the Twin Cities, and he also made a music video for a death metal band called Reaping Asmodia from the Twin Cities, and I just love that name. But Frogman, that's another one I saw that I really liked.
We gotta see if we know any friends of friends who can hook us up. I mean, that's not far away. That's a 4-hour drive.
No, it's not far at all.
I have so many friends in that area.
You
know the Frogman? Screaming outside their house, Frogman!
We're trying to find the Frogman.
Some old lady in her house being like, Gerald, the kids are out yelling about the Frogman again. And they hate their neighbor because Anthony Cousins has driven all these people to the house just yelling, Frogman. And then she's like, Gerald, call the cops. They're on our lawn.
Oh, fuck.
Frogman.
Also, a couple other things here that I want to mention. Last night, in fact, so a little after March, frankly, Riley, calm down. I finally saw Dinner with Leatherface, the documentary about Gunnar Hansen.
I watched it.
I mean, as documentaries go, it was awesome. For me, as such a big fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and having read Gunnar's book Chainsaw Confidential, it's a really great little sort of tribute to this guy, and just points out yet again one of the most interesting things about horror films is, in a lot of cases, the nicest people in the world are the ones who most successfully embody sheer terror and panic. Because by all accounts, he's just one of the nicest people you would ever meet in your life. And he gave that one performance that is iconic, right? There are
for
few
people who don't know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, he's Leatherface.
Yeah, he's Leatherface in Texas
there might be people
Chainsaw
who
Massacre.
don't know.
Yeah.
Just in
No,
case
you're
they're like,
absolutely
Dinner
right.
with
I should have
Leatherface,
mentioned it.
Who the fuck? No,
Yeah.
to us it's obvious, and then I realized like, oh, people might not know.
And Gunnar passed away a few years ago. This film was made by a friend of his with the full blessing of, I don't think they were legally married, but her name is Betty Tower, I believe. She was his longtime partner. And it's just it's a really lovely portrait of the guy, and also for those people who are super into the minutia and details of a thing, as I am with Chainsaw and with Halloween, definitely worth taking an hour and 45 to watch for sure.
Yeah, my thoughts on Dinner with Leatherface are that my rule of thumb is always that I will love a documentary if it teaches me something new.
Yep.
So as a documentary, I don't feel like I learned a lot, but as a love letter to a really important guy in the horror community, just seeing like it's not really, it's about him, but it's not like teaching you things you didn't really know.
Yeah.
Like he's a nice guy, but it was just nice. It was kind of like more like a eulogy than it was a documentary, and that's not bad. It's just it's not what I expected, and so it sounds like I didn't like it. Let me rephrase. I did like it. I'm just saying, like, as a documentary, I thought it was gonna be like, here's the history of his life.
And it's always hard to rate a documentary, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like it's like but no, I really enjoyed that one.
It's definitely worth watching if you know who he is and just want to see all these people in the horror community talk about how much they love him and how good he was with his fans. It's really sweet.
Yeah. Two other things I'm going to mention. One, a film by name, and then just a group of other things all kind of together. Also, just a couple of nights ago, I saw a German film, a super independent film, in the English translation of the name is Why Hans Wagner Hates the Starry Sky.
Yes, that's on my list. You saw a thing before I did.
It is fascinating. I really, really liked this because like it definitely goes into horror territory, and when it goes, it goes. So it's legitimate horror, but it's also this very weird sort of like meet cute, low-key romantic story. You really have to see it to understand how it all plays together. But I really was surprised by how much I enjoyed it, especially after like the first 5 or 10 minutes, because I was real sure this was just going to be some silly, pretentious student film stuff, but it's fantastic. Really good. I gave it a 4 out of 5 as well.
Wow. I like any movie that lets me bust out my high school German, because I'm like, ooh, Warum, that means why. Hans Wagner, that's his name. Den Sternenhimmel hast. Oh, hates the night sky. I like German because it's just compound words put together in order to make much longer sentences.
Oh, yeah.
My German teacher, one of my favorite teachers, that's the only reason I speak the tiniest bit of German, is because I loved Frau. I love Frau. She's the nicest lady. But Frau told us about when she lived in Germany and like her street name, and she wrote it on the whiteboard, and it took forever. She's like, Germans just like making long words that make Americans confused.
Right, for sure. Yeah. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention, not going to mention, well, maybe a couple of titles specifically, just a very interesting thing to me that some of our listeners might be interested in. A lot of you are going to be familiar with the name Unearthed Films, real extreme horror company. They're the people responsible for distributing a Serbian film, the August Underground trilogy, the American Guinea Pig films. They specialize in that real sort of extreme, over-the-top stuff. And they have a huge portion of their library available for free on Tubi right now. Obviously ad-supported, but frankly, films that I would never have expected you would be able... There's a film called No Reason that has some things in it. I wound up
watching after you talked about it.
Yeah, it has some stuff in it that, again, whether or not... this is a flavor that works for some people. It doesn't work for others. I have a weird I'm not really a fan of it, but I have a weird curiosity about it. No Reason, I at least respected. It had an idea. It's at least trying to tell a story. There's more than just the brutal violence and fucked upness of it. If you're a fan of something like the old school Guinea Pig Flower of Flesh and Blood, where the guy is just dismembering the body, there's one of the American Guinea Pig.
You like that kind of thing.
Right. Well, look, that's a thing that some people enjoy,
I know,
right?
It's just very funny out of context to be like, if you like a guy just dismembering
you just want to watch.
You
just want to spend an hour watching a guy chop a body up. It's if you like special effects reels, ultimately is what I'm saying. There's one of the movies that's available to you is American Guinea Pig 4 Sacrifice. Runs about an hour long. Same sort of vibe as Flower of Flesh and Blood, but this thing is fucking brutal. Some have you seen this?
Yep. I'm just gonna say the hot dog part. The hot dog part
with the screwdriver.
Yes.
Yeah. It's fucking intense.
I can't believe it's on Tubi.
I know, right? Like how is?
I'm not saying it shouldn't be. I am just surprised.
I'm just shocked. Especially when you consider like. Where the Devil Roams, there's that one shot of full frontal male nudity in that film, and they had to edit it. Yeah. Like, they fuzzed it out to get, and like, there is way worse shit in these movies. One other that I did want to mention, just because it struck me as really odd how much I enjoyed it. It's a Japanese movie called Brutal. It's really sort of, it's gore and violence to an absurd degree, but it's also this weirdly absurdist comedic love story. And I don't know what it is about me lately, but I really enjoy these hybrids of like romantic connection over the most vile and repugnant things. But mostly I just wanted to mention, I'm pretty sure I found about half of their current library available on Tubi. So if you are into that sort of, a Serbian film is not on there. The August Underground films are not on there. The Lucifer Valentine vomit gore films are not on there. But which those doesn't surprise me at all, of course. But there's some stuff on here that I never would have expected.
I used to have an entire list of every Unearthed Films movie, and I was making it my goal to see all of them. And eventually I realized, like, a lot of these I'm going to have to buy in order to see them, and I don't feel like doing that for a lot of DVDs when I don't know if I'll like them. And now that they're all, or like majority on Tubi, I might have to go find that list and just spend all of April getting real fucking weird with it.
They also, Unearthed started branching out into just like old grindhouse B-movie sleaze sort of stuff, like old action movies and schlock stuff like that. And a lot of those titles are available as well if you're a fan of that sort of thing.
I might be. Maybe I'll go watch them. I'd rather watch a lady get dismembered for an hour and a half, but that also sounds good, I guess.
So that's all I've got for horror in the after times.
Autopsy of Jane Doe. You said we were circling back.
Right. Oh, yeah. So Autopsy of Jane Doe. This is one, obviously, that I've known about for a long time, but had just never gotten around to see. I finally got around to see it. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I thought it was an interesting idea. I think... for me, there was a better movie to be made with that idea, but it definitely was not what I was expecting. It makes a turn about halfway through, and it's like, oh, that's what's going on. You said you wanted to, I don't know, talk about some things or ask about some things.
I don't have a ton to say about it, just that I am really excited that you just watched it because it reminded me that movie exists. I'm going to go rewatch it. It's not like my favorite movie ever, but possession movies, when they're done correctly.
Oh, spoiler, Michelle.
It's The Exorcism. No, it's The Autopsy. Damn it. Okay, right.
So we had to make a quick edit there because Michelle had a spoiler. I
forgot what the title was, and I thought something was a given that was not. The Frogman of Jane Doe. Oh no, it's Frog. Anyway, that I'm just gonna say that kind of film is my flavor. And I want to rewatch it. I used to have, like, Emile Hirsch was one of my favorite actors for a very long time. I have seen The Girl Next Door a lot. I've seen it so many times. And specifically, the Emile Hirsch one, not the one where the neighbor lady gets locked in a basement and sexually abused. Very different movies.
Okay, because I was going to say, there's that one that's based on the Hal Ketchum?
I don't remember the name, but no, it's not that one that's based on a true story and fucked me up for a while. It's the one where there's a porn star and she's his neighbor.
Okay. Yeah,
Great movie.
And it's got what's the girl who's the porn
how
star?
did I forget her name? She used to
It
be like one of
doesn't.
the most beautiful
Yeah.
women I've ever seen.
It doesn't matter. Speaking of the
And
girl
it has
next,
Timothy Oliphant. It's Alicia Cuthbert. That's it.
that's
Ugh,
her name. Yeah,
gorgeous.
Alicia with an E.
Yes, Alicia,
Yeah.
not Alicia.
Yeah.
Oh, gorgeous.
That other girl next door, my it's fucking heavy, but my big issue with that movie is like there are a lot of parents who allowed some very young children to be involved in the production of that movie. And I'm just like, look, I mean, you can say all you want about how they knew it was just a movie and they were, playing a let's pretend game, but holy shit, I have to wonder if at least a couple of them did not come out of that real fucked up.
Yeah, because also at that age, it's not so much this is a fictional movie that we're making. It's a true story that is just as fucked
Yeah.
up, and they're learning that people do this. I was not old enough to learn about that, and I was mid-20s.
Yeah, not
That is a fucked up. That's one of the worst
Not-
true crime
yeah.
stories I've ever heard in my life.
and both parents allowing their children to be portrayed in some pretty awful victimized ways, but also allowing their children to be portrayed in some very violent and disturbing ways. And it's just, whew,
In
that's a
case
tough.
people don't know what we're talking about, it's a real story of a lady whose, I think, niece or something like that came to stay with her, and she locked her in the basement and then invited over all the neighbor boys, the very young neighbor boys, to show them what a slut looked like, and sexually abused her in a lot of different ways, physically abused her. Like, this lady, I think she ultimately died down there. I don't think she
Yeah.
was rescued. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, the things that they did to her were creative and awful, and it was a lot of little boys doing it. It's atrocious.
It's a hard movie to watch in a whole different way, for sure.
And it's one of those where the movie might have fucked me up even a little bit more than the real case of it did, because oh man, seeing that stuff visually, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
So if you want to go check that one out, go in with every content warning possible. I normally don't do content warnings for horror because I'm like, well, you could go look up on doesthedogdie.com.
Yeah, it's
but
not
holy
it's
shit.
not like gory, and like even the violence of it's not like insane ultra violence in the sense of like, arms getting ripped off or anything. It's very but it's also very realistic.
Yeah.
And okay, we've talked about that movie enough. Hal Ketchum is a very, very disturbed man.
Ugh. Wait,
Didn't
it
he-
was
didn't-
Hal Ketchum. Was he one of the actors?
No,
Or
he's
what
the
did
guy
he do
who
with
wrote the not Hal Ketchum, the guy who wrote the book that movie is based on.
Which is based on a real case, though.
I believe so. Yeah, I'm
No, it
double
definitely
check-
is. I see
Jack.
what we're talking about.
Yeah, Jack Ketchum is his name.
Ash Ketchum? That's what he did when he got older? Are you fucking kidding me? Travels around the world with this Pokemon, just trying to collect as many gym badges as he can, gets old enough, and then is like, have you ever considered locking a woman in a basement and torturing her? What the fuck? Pikachu? Is Pikachu there? Pika
Yeah.
Pika.
Yeah, he's but so yeah, and you're absolutely right. Wrote that book based on the real story. There's also a movie called The Woman that he wrote the novel of that the movie is based on. Anyway, he's
that makes sense. Those are the same person writing that book.
Yeah, Jack Ketchum. He was he's unfortunately passed away as of 2018. Rest his soul or whatever. But yeah, very well-known, award-winning horror author who wrote some real aggressive stuff.
Well, shit, I might have to go read some books because I only knew The Girl Next Door because of the real case that happened. And the woman also fucked up in very similar ways. So now I might have to go see, like, what you doing when you... I like feeling upset.
Yeah, it's he's well known for that sort of stuff.
I love being upset. Richard Lehman, one of my favorite horror authors. Okay, I've got horror in the before times.
Let's do it. I got a couple of
only
those
two.
too. I've got
There's
two.
only two. Sweet. So first, Honeydew. It's on Tubi, Roku, and Prime. It's fucking weird. It's not weird in a I don't know what time it is and I don't know what reality is kind of way. It's more a what are humans doing to other humans and who can I trust in this situation and can I trust anyone? And then it's revealed and you're like, what the fuck? And then a little bit later you're like, Lena Dunham is in this. Why?
Ugh.
And so it's real weird and anytime she shows up I'm just like, oh, it's that kind of movie. And then it gets real fucked up. But if you're in the mood to watch something just weird, and there's something about the way that it's edited that makes it almost like drug trippy at times, and I really like the cinematography of it. Even though the story is like just strange and very uncomfortable, I really like the way it's put together. And it's just strange, and I can't say much without giving a lot away. So that's why I'm being very, very
It's
vague. But
Yeah, it's a movie that has been on my radar. I mentioned this in regard to Frogman when I was talking about it on our social media. Even in this day and age, your promo art matters, right? One of the
that's
reasons
exactly why I wound up
Frogman,
watching it.
yeah, one of the
Holy shit.
reason Frogman stayed on my radar is I don't know if you've seen the promo art that they did for that. It's
It's beautiful.
fucking fantastic.
Yep.
And the imagery from the promo on this is just strange enough that it reminded me quite a bit of like the promo for City of Lost Children, if you've ever seen that, in a lot of ways.
Thanks.
But just Google it and just the promo image, like the video box cover, I think you'll understand. It kind of reminded me of that in a certain way.
You're talking
but
about the
no,
movie?
yeah, City of
Or
Lost Children.
because I don't think I ever knew that one of my favorite PlayStation games was based on a movie. Because there is a PlayStation game called The City of Lost Children that came
About
out in
stealing dreams?
1997. What?
Is it about stealing dreams?
Possibly. I don't know what the fuck it's about. I got trapped in the basement a lot when I played that game as a kid, and I could never get the fuck out of the basement. They lock you in a basement. I'm sure there's a way to get out. I never figured it out. But the cover art of that game is beautiful. I agree with you. The 1990s PlayStation game City of Lost Children does have beautiful cover art. Also, if I wanted to get a physical copy of it, because I don't know where mine, actually, I might still have mine, but I looked on Amazon. It's $249. Maybe I'll
Oh.
sell mine. I have it with the case and everything because physical media is not dead.
So anyway,
game.
what I was ultimately getting to is Honeydew is one that I have has been on my radar, but then you told me Lena Dunham is in it, and now I don't
I
care.
know she's not a big part, but I'm.
I don't.
Oh, anytime
Lena
I
Dunham
see
is a
her-
very problem. I don't know how many people know this, but there like several years ago, there was a and there's like this whole thing where she just like flat out talks about incredibly inappropriate, potentially, frankly, criminal things that happened with her and I believe one of her sisters, her
sister,
much
her
younger
younger
sister. And it just, everybody has just blown by it. Like it's utterly meaningless. And that troubles me so much that I can't bring myself to really get too caught up in anything that she's involved with.
You definitely
Also-
don't dislike her when she shows up in the movie too.
Well, I'm probably never gonna watch it
Yep.
now. Is
Yeah.
the whole thing. Just did some quick looking while I was talking there though, and it does look like the video game City of Lost Children is. I don't know if it's based on the movie, but it looks like the movie and the video game are based on the same book.
Oh man, I didn't even know there was a book. Because again, I played this in the 90s and I went, this is all I have access to because the internet hasn't been invented yet. And so I just had in isolation this very weird game that I played repeatedly.
No, maybe it wasn't a book, and I'm just there was an image here that made me think it was a book. But anyway, they're related. That's all that matters.
Cool. I'm going to watch the movie and then I might just go make sure I still have the physical copy of that game and then go play it and get stuck in the fucking basement again. I don't know how the hell you're supposed to get out of there. And every once in a while, what she says when you try to click something that isn't like a thing you can do anything with, is she goes, I can't manage it. And sometimes I think about that just randomly, just over and over. I can't manage it. I can't manage it. Can't manage it. Because that was the soundtrack of my life. How the fuck do I get out of the basement? I'm too young to understand video game mechanics, and I don't know how I get out of the fucking basement because the guy patrolling the streets keeps finding me and putting me back in there, and I need to figure out where all the fucking lost children are. The lighthouse part where I have to hide behind a crate, but I have to do it at a very specific point. Man, video games used to be so much harder. Kids don't know how easy they have it. You ever get stuck in a basement before? It's difficult.
Yes.
Anyway. That's my horror in the before time.
Just Honeydew?
Children. No, I'm just saying City of Lost Children is more horrific than anything else I have.
By the way,
one,
Michelle, just I'm going to send this to you in a chat message as well. But if you want to get out of the basement, you need to unlock the grating with the skeleton key, open it, go up, then go east, south, and west 3 times to reach the living room.
I think I didn't have the skeleton key or it works once. You can get out of the basement once. The problem is the second time I don't have the key anymore, and I know there's got to be a trick. They're not just locking you in the basement, not telling you game over.
This has nothing to do with that game.
Okay.
An incredibly obscure, maybe one person listening to this has the potential knowledge to know what I was just referencing.
Okay, because you can get out of the basement once, but then I kept getting caught and put back in there. And I don't know how you get out.
Are you familiar, Michelle, with an old text-based computer game called Zork?
I don't know if I know Zork specifically.
Yeah, so Zork was it was a text adventure game from the very, very early 80s. There was a bunch of sequels, Zork, Zork 2, Zork 3, Zork 0, Zork Nemesis.
Oh, you can still play it.
It was a whole thing. Right. Yeah. Here's the thing. In the original Zork, there is a legendary puzzle where you get stuck in the basement and you have to get out. And that's how
skeleton key.
Yeah, that's how you get out. You unlock the grating with the skeleton key, open the grating, go up, go east, go south, go west 3 times to reach the living room.
Now I'm just thinking of video games that I used to play because some of them I found on Steam recently, and I want to Deja Vu was a text-based one on the computer that I was way too young to play. I didn't know how the fuck blackjack worked, and I always got beat up and my money taken, and then I died really early in that game. But I just downloaded that on Steam, and I'm going to go replay it. I'm real excited.
Are you familiar with a nerd rapper called MC Frontalot?
No.
Oh. The only reason I ask is he had kind of a well-known song in that world called It Is Pitch Dark, which is also a reference to Zork because it's got some crazy lines in it. It is pitch dark. Where he raps, "You are likely to be eaten by a grue," which is from Zork. There's a place where you go.
I've heard stuff. I know I haven't played Zork, but I've heard references.
Yeah, because a lot of the things you see, like there's in the house at the beginning. I don't remember exactly where it is, but you look at something and there's nothing on it except a label that says this space is intentionally left blank. Just weird shit. Anyway, I got off on a basement tangent here. We got more. What was your other horror in the in the Before Times movie?
Actually, a very, very older Before Times movie, Squirm from 1976.
Very old 1976. Fuck you.
13 years before I was born. That's before the real plague of my birth happened.
Continue, please.
It's MGM Plus, and I watched it for the practical effects, and they did not disappoint. I had seen it in, I think, like one of Shudder's, like, I think it was Horror's Greatest, where they just talk about, like, really good themes for each episode. And this is earthworms that after, I think, like a very special rainstorm, and they're the kind of worms that bite, like bloodworms, they just take over a town. It is worth just seeing a guy's face with worms coming out of it, and they're trudging through a whole room of worms. I enjoyed it. I'm so glad that I went. I'd never even heard of it before I saw it on Horror's Greatest, and it is worth watching for the effects. I mean, it's 1976. It's not like the best movie I've ever seen, but the effects are real fun, and you can tell they're simple, but because they're simple, you can do a lot with that, and I like it. Earthworms bloodworms taking over the world? Yes, please.
I find it interesting that you sort of low-key suggested that why would the best movie I've ever seen have come from 1976 when we all know that one of the very best movies, a tie contender for the best horror movie ever, came from 1974, and the other one came from 1978. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Michelle.
I did not mean to imply that the movie could not be good. The effects of this creature feature movie with earthworms were not expected to be the best I've ever seen, to the point where I'm like, oh shit, I can't believe that. Yeah.
That's fair.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is that 74? Or what's the 74?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. More Leatherface. Okay, those are my horror in the before times.
I also have only two, a couple of movies, again, that I saw for the first time. One was a long time coming righting of, frankly, a pretty significant wrong. I had never seen the 1980s horror standout Henry: Portrait of a Serial Killer. And so I had always heard that for its, maybe for its time, even coming forward, that it was a very extreme, very dark, very severe movie. And I went back and watched it. And first, what I want to make clear is I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie. But what's interesting to me is initially my reaction was, I don't understand why people keep putting this on these lists, because compared to what they're doing now, it's nothing. But then also, the more I watched it, like even by 1985 or 86 standards, this is not very severe, and it makes me wonder what it is about this movie that so many people have this real severe remembrance of it, because it's, I don't know. Like I said, even for its time, I can think of a ton of stuff that was way more severe than this. But I only mention that because it's interesting to me. It keeps coming up on those lists. I did enjoy the movie. It's really, really good.
And I have asked that same question and dove into forums to figure it out. And people say it's just fucked up because he's such a normal guy outside of that, which it's not the only time we've seen that, but they're trying to hook him up with the sister and everything. And meantime, he's a serial killer. And like, it is also weird to me, but they say like that one just gets under their skin a lot more for some reason.
I find myself wondering if, especially at the time and even now, it is like it's certainly far more based on a true story than Texas Chainsaw Massacre was. It's about a real person who really existed, and so I wonder if maybe that has something to do with it, just the knowing. But even saying that, like what you see in the movie is hardly a recreation of what actually happened, but no, it is a very good movie, though. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I finally saw it.
I mean, I don't understand all people who make movies or enjoy movies, because like I have not figured out the Snow White being below 2 stars on IMDb thing, so I am not claiming to be a expert of why people do or do not like things.
Yeah, but you haven't seen that yet, so.
Not yet. Good point. I do need to see it. And then I can also add a 1-star review on IMDb. I just like, what kind of movie deserves that?
What kind
aside
of person
from Kirk
takes
Cameron Saves Christmas, the worst movie I've ever seen.
I'm not even going to say this specifically about a 1-star review. What kind of a person takes the time to leave a rating on IMDb?
I mean, I have before.
I'm
that kind of person, so we know what kind of person it is.
The only other horror in the before times is another one of those. I was so certain I had seen this, and it turns out it's one that I probably had started watching and just never got around to finish. And that is a movie a lot of people refer to as the Japanese Evil Dead, but the original title is so much better. It's called Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell. Came out in the early 90s. I want to say 93 is when it was made. Didn't get, it got like a real lo-fi, I think, DVD-R release in 97, and then got its first real big DVD release or Blu-ray release in 2004, and finally came to streaming and that sort of thing in like 2016. Anyway, they call it the Japanese Evil Dead for a reason. When you see it, you'll be like, oh, yeah, they just took the story of Evil Dead and moved it from a cabin in the woods, like, to a small house in a small Japanese village. But it's a lot of fun. It's ridiculous. Definitely has more of a tone of Evil Dead 2 than Evil Dead, but it was a lot of fun.
Oh, so it's like Evil Dead but good.
Get fucked.
We just put an Evil Dead
Jesus.
episode. You know that's not how anybody.
Pardon me. That you said "get fucked" just came out of nowhere. I'm sorry. It was almost like it was like a reflex.
It's funny. I think it's really funny. I like roasting and I like being roasted. God, I will like when I tell people I used to do roasts, like Amir Bikich's comment about me is still my favorite insult anybody has ever given me, and that was when yeah, he said I think it was Tim had once said that I had nice legs, and he was like, yeah, Tim once said that Michelle has nice legs, and I didn't understand, but now I've realized, like, she kind of has nice legs in the way that you look at a bridge and the stuff putting it together, and you're like, how does that hold all of that up?
How rude.
Oh, it's my favorite insult of all time.
That's fabulous. It's good
That's
stuff.
a good one. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to a midway episode of Michelle in Review. To you, it's going to sound weird that I'm saying that because to you, it's still one cohesive episode. But here's the thing. I knew for a fact there was no way that we were going to start this off. And if I gave the mic to JD, that he was not going to tell you it has been more than 24 hours since we recorded the first half of this episode. JD, am I wrong?
Well, no, but I had already explained to people on social media that we were delayed and why. So, you know, I guess
a lot of where the break was.
Yeah, I guess a lot of these people who are listening might not be following us yet on social media. If you're not, by the way, you should resolve that. We're on both Facebook and on Instagram. I almost said we're on We Watch Shudder, and that's...
I mean, we are.
Man, yeah, so we just time traveled. I don't know how you guys are doing, but Michelle, if I'm not mistaken, we were right about ready to start talking about non-horror stuff. Is that correct?
That is exactly correct. And now I'm
Awesome.
doing it on a brand new laptop with a crazy rainbow keyboard. It's also a white laptop, and I've never realized that I have a preference for anything or anyone white before, but apparently I do. This is beautiful.
I mean, your husband is white.
Yeah, but don't tell him that. We just don't talk about it.
I don't even know for sure what that means, but it's hilarious. Anyway, non-horror. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, so non-horror. Just because we were just talking about Kevin Smith, I did make an addendum to my non-horror and put that I watched Clerks 3, and the first Clerks is a monumentally great film. Kevin Smith can be hit or miss, but like Clerks, great movie. I know a lot about that film. Clerks 2 is a movie. I have seen it. Clerks 3, I've held off for a while. It came out in 2022, and I was like, oh, this is the last bit of it. Yeah, I know what Clerks 2 was. I don't know if I need a third one. And so I finally sat down and watched it. Holy shit. If you like the first Clerks...
Did you weep like a baby?
I did not. Did you weep like a baby?
Oh, God, there's one moment in that movie where I just fucking collapsed.
Oh, I need to ask because there's a couple like emotional parts that I did not expect. I had no idea what the plot was, and I expected more shenanigans. I did not expect this to be a love story to the first Clerks movie and let you in on all the insider knowledge. Well, and that was great.
I mean, the whole thing has the trilogy became just like an arc of his life. Mm-hmm. In a lot of ways, right? Like it reflects the experience of that's one of the things where it's so interesting that there's a good 10, 12 years between each movie. Like it's a long stretch, and you get to see these characters, and especially, obviously I know you were alive in the 90s, but I imagine
I'm a 90s
were what?
Kid.
How old were you in 1993 when Clerks came out?
4 years old.
Right. So I saw Clerks in, I want to say, like 95 on VHS. This movie has been with me for my entire life. I went to see Clerks 3 in the theater, and yeah, there's one moment in particular that just broke me down because I'm of a similar age, and I grew up with, Kevin, I think, is about 7 or 8 years older than me, but Yeah, it really hit me. Man, I didn't expect to just suddenly go off on a tear about Clerks 3, but...
Yeah, I did not expect to love Clerks 3, so you're basically experiencing what I just experienced, because Clerks 2 was fine, but I was like, well, that's not an improvement. Why would I bother seeing the third one? The third movie is never better than the second. And, well, no, I guess in your case, Halloween 3 is your favorite, right? Is that Baghead Jason?
I will unalive you, Michelle.
That's the one without Jason that we did for Spooktober, isn't it? Baghead is 2?
Halloween is not.
Oh my god. Yep. Sorry. I meant Friday the 13th.
See, you started out with Halloween 3, and then you were like, Jason.
I know, and then Baghead Jason. Everybody
so you
listening,
didn't do that
I know
on purpose?
the difference. No, I didn't. I just.
Oh, God. I thought you were just
continuing
to fuck with me and make me more and more upset about your comments about Halloween.
No, I know that
Halloween is getting
it
wrong.
I know Halloween is your favorite of the slashers, and I know you love Baghead Jason, so those two pieces of trivia just combined into one. Well, anyway. Another movie I went to see, this one is in theaters, and it's the one I started talking about yesterday before my computer decided it was done dealing with my bullshit, just as much as I was done dealing with it. Mickey 17, the latest from Bong Joon-ho. I'm a big Bong Joon-ho fan. Try saying
Say
Bong
that 3 times
Joon-ho
fast.
fan. That's difficult bunch of phrases to put together. But I'm a big fan. I love Parasite. I love Snowpiercer. Okja made me vegetarian for a while. I've always been on again, off again vegetarian. I'm just one of those where I'm like, I don't know. I'm not going to tell people, but like today I don't feel like eating meat, and I don't want to do that. But today I'm going to have a steak, and it's going to be the best fucking thing I eat today. Like, I go off and on, but that movie wrecked me, and I hope to never see it again.
Really?
And Mickey's, yeah, have you seen Okja?
Oh, no, I thought you were still talking about Mickey 17. No, Okja has been on my radar for a long time, but I still have not had a chance to see it.
You know the things I'm really passionate about?
Oh, yeah.
Okja upset me to a degree that I was not imagining that I could get upset, and I bawled my fucking eyes out. There's a part near the end that, fuck him for doing that to me, but I think about it randomly, and then I feel guilty for occasionally eating meat. So fuck that movie. It's way too cute, and it made my heart hurt. Similar to Mickey 17, there is a moment in here where something bad happens to a very adorable thing, and I had a moment where I was in the theater, and I just looked off to the side, and I asked myself, are we going to be able to handle this, or do we have a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 situation, and you need to put your head in your sweatshirt ahead of time so that you don't audibly, hysterically cry right now? There was a moment in Mickey 17 where I went, if this goes on for too long, I will have to get up so I don't disturb people. And it's probably a thing that doesn't even faze a lot of people, but I think things through a lot more than I should, and I upset myself. But Mickey 17, outside of that moment, is great. I have learned I'm a big Robert Pattinson fan. Patterson. Which son is he? Whose
Robert
son?
Pattinson.
Okay, that's what I said, but then I did not sound right.
It's Patton with an I-N, not an O-N like Patton Oswalt.
Exactly. Yes. So, Patton's son, Robert. He's really great. He's done a lot better for himself than I thought Edward Cullen would allow him, and Cedric Diggory, and he's just a really great guy, and I love all the things. Plus, like, the Batman. I fucking love the Batman. Half hour, way too long. I thought that movie ended twice before it actually ended. But it's one of my favorite Batman movies, and I was born on the day that Batman came out, so you know I'm a big Bruce Wayne fan. Give me nipple Batman any day. You said that when Val Kilmer died, you were surprised that anybody would compare him to Batman Forever, but that is one of the things I know him from.
No, I
or
was
listed as. Yes.
No, I even know that it, like, people do like it. It just seemed odd to me that out of everything he had been in, that was consistently like one of the 1 or 2 titles mentioned in headlines. And that's what was weird to me. I will also admit I did not realize or understand that Batman Forever had such a loyal and frankly sizable following. And
Great.
I mean, it's definitely not Batman and Robin. You know,
I also love Batman and Robin, but for the reasons you're not supposed to. Where I'm like,
fair.
this is campy and stupid, and it's full of puns, and I love puns. So I do love Batman and Robin quite a bit. Plus, when I was younger, I had the hots for Robin. I watched that movie just to see Robin. That's a handsome, handsome gentleman. Anyway, speaking of handsome gentlemen, Mickey 17. It is a sci-fi comedy. And what I love about Bong Joon-ho's films is that he is able to completely make up this fictional world that's dystopian and nothing like what we're living, and yet the exact same lessons that could be applied to our modern day society apply in this universe and are just told in a different way. And that is, again, what happens here. His theme through all of his movies is always this divide between the classes, the poor and the rich, the low class and the high class. And this does that again. But it's also very, very funny. Robert Pattinson is just a very good actor. I saw him in the Boy and the Heron, or didn't see him, but heard him. He's a voice actor. And if I had not known he voiced the Heron, I would not have known that was Robert Pattinson. So he's phenomenal. It's a great movie. I don't want to say too much because I think with Bong Joon-ho being who he is, his name should just tell people if they like his stuff, they should go see it. And I think this is one where the littlest bit of knowledge that you have is the best. I avoided trailers as much as I could. I had to duck, dodge, and weave to avoid them. And I almost succeeded, but I did see two.
Almost.
They
Close,
threw
but
them at
no
me.
cigar.
Yeah, no cigar. Do not smoke cigars.
That's a cigar.
Cigar. Well,
I
my
say it
next
like
movie... This one I am confused by.
Okay.
Anora 2024, the movie that took 5 Oscar awards in addition to 1 nomination. The awards it got were Best Motion Picture of the Year, Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role, Best Original Screenplay, Best Achievement Directing, and Best Achievement in Film Editing, as well as a nomination for Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role. Yes, GD.
Is the confusion you're experiencing, how is that possible with the movie that you saw?
That is exactly what I was getting to.
Yes!
I do need I needed people to know that this won a lot of awards. It's available on Hulu. It's a good movie. I think it won.
Is it?
Have you seen it?
No.
Oh, okay. I was curious.
I'm
okay.
just being a jerk about like the
Oscars.
the art film du jour that everybody's big on, which are often actually very good movies. I'm just being a jerk.
It's good. It is not this level of achievement good. However, I would argue that watching the entire movie for the ending is worthwhile. And I think that ending sticks the landing so hard that then they're like, fuck, we got to give it all the awards because of this good, like, couple of minutes right at the end, the part right before the credits roll, and it all makes sense. That is, that's definitely the vibe from that movie. Is just, it's a movie, and then it's like, oh, fuck, that's going to stick with me for the rest of my life.
Well, lucky for me, I know very little about it to the extent that I don't even really have any interest in seeing it. So I guess that's where I stand on Anora.
It's about a very attractive stripper, if that tempts you at all.
Well,
Lots of butts.
It does, but at the same time, Michelle, if that's the only thing about it that I'm drawn to, porn is right there, you know?
Yeah, but it did work to coerce you into seeing the substance ASAP when I said there were a lot of butts.
But there was also other stuff, is what I'm saying. If the only thing it had was butts, I mean, I can get butts.
I mean, I said it's a good movie, but it's a good movie with butts. That's all I need. When I found out that Sean Baker, who wrote and directed this, also made Red Rocket and Tangerine, it made a lot of sense. He does a lot of, like, wandering character development pieces where you're just following a person on an adventure and they're a little bit flawed, but you're rooting for them anyway. And I went, oh, This is exactly his style. His style is so distinct in the way that Wes Anderson's is, and I did not even realize until I went, who the fuck made this movie? Who won all the awards? That guy? The one who made Red Rocket of all movies?
Here's what I know is I just did a little digging, and Anora won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, and that means I am probably better off not watching it.
Oh, the last couple minutes, though.
It's
really good.
I'm not saying the Palme d'Or is always a movie that I don't care for, but there are very few that
Didn't
I...
Titan
And it's not... Again,
win that
it's not...
once?
What?
Titan won that once, right?
I think so, or at least it might have been nominated. I'm actually casually browsing through a list of the winners by year as we're talking here. And again, I'm not saying these are bad movies. This is just not the kind of movies that I'm interested in at all, as a general rule.
That might be true with Anora. It is, it's an artsy movie.
Okay, yeah, go
yes.
ahead. I was about to just start talking about all the movies that I see now that I have liked, but that's another conversation for another time. This is my show and review.
Oh no, now we're just into JD lists every movie that has won an award at a festival and that he also
The Palme
liked.
d'Or.
Yeah, but I'm saying like we could just do this as a segment where you just monotone list movies that you liked that have won awards. Speaking of winning awards, this one won an award in my heart. My last non-horror movie that I will cover today, Novocaine. Holy shit.
Okay.
Novocaine, saw it in theaters, stars
Is
Jack
it about
Quaid.
a dentist?
No, do you actually not know what Novocaine is?
I mean, I've seen the poster, but no, I don't know anything about it.
Oh my god. Okay, so Novocaine is about this guy, Nathan Kane, who does not feel pain. He has SIPA, congenital insensitive to pain with anhidrosis. And basically, the lady that he's into gets kidnapped by bank robbers. So he decides, well, fuck it. I got to go get her back. And he cannot feel pain. And this is an action movie. And there were moments that I went, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. I have seen a lot of horror movies. The fact that this man feels no pain, they definitely let that play out in the most extreme ways possible. Of just like all the gore we can think of is going to happen to this man because he cannot feel it. And I was very surprised by how drawn in I was by Jack Quaid's character. It wasn't just this shallow action movie, like kind of like a Crank situation where you're like Jason Statham, he has to keep excited to stay alive. Novocaine, like one of those types of things. But he's actually like an endearing, weird nerd who's actually just very cautious in his everyday life because he knows that people with this condition often don't live very long because they don't feel themselves dying and recognize that as an issue. So he's just a really awkward bank manager. And then he's the guy who goes on this big action quest. And that really sold me. I also laughed so many times in the theater. This movie is hilarious. That's a 5-skull movie for me. Novocaine is great.
So it's Kick-Ass.
It's better than Kick-Ass.
I'm just saying that was about a guy who doesn't feel pain, and so he goes on to fight bad guys.
Kick-Ass wasn't completely numb to all pain, was he?
Yeah, that was the whole point of
Was
why he
that the
started
whole point?
fighting, is because he got all messed up and he had damage to his spine and he couldn't feel pain or whatever it was. Yeah, that was the whole point of that thing.
All I remember is Nick Cage's screaming in the chair in the second one. No, that's the first one. That is the first one.
It is.
That's the only part of that I remember. I don't remember very much about this movie. Except it has Chloe Grace...
Chloe Grace Moretz. That was
Yeah,
kind of her breakthrough thing.
exactly. And she's really good.
she was a little girl who swears.
Oh, so edgy.
Yeah.
Now she's an adult who swears. Wow. Crazy how that happens. Okay, that's it for my non-horror. Do you have anything for the non-horror section before I go to literature?
Just one thing. I finally saw Wicked. It's rad. It was every bit as good as everybody said it was. I watched it with my mom. It was super cool. I hate that there's a whole year until I get to, 9 months now until I get to see the rest of it. But yeah, it was, they were very respectful to the music, but I am minorly annoyed that there are points where there are breaks in the songs that weren't there when I learned them all from the CD.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Trying to sing along, and the shit just falls out, and then I'm just bellering through the living room.
Have you seen the live production of it?
The show? No, I've never seen it. I have
those breaks are
literally
there too. Yeah.
My only experience with Wicked is the original cast recording CD.
Okay.
Oh, and I've read the book that is
entirely different,
incredibly loosely based on.
Yeah, I actually got that as a Christmas present. I have a really cute Barnes and Noble version.
It's it's something. There's some stuff that goes on in that book that they definitely would not want to put in the Broadway show or movie.
That is an adult-themed book.
Yeah. But other than that, the other non-horror thing, yes, that I do want to mention, Food Network Tournament of Champions 6 is finally underway. So in the first 5 seasons, out of those seasons, so it's 5. There's been 10 finalists in 5 years, right? Or 10 finalist spots. There have only been 6 people who have made it to the finals. All 6 of them are women. 4 of the 6 have won the tournament. 1 of them won it twice. And none of the 4 previous champions are in the tournament this year. And the 2 people who have been finalists are in the tournament this year. The 2 who have been finalists but haven't won. And one of those 2 has already been knocked out. So it's fucking... Look, if you're a competitive cooking... like Food Network competitive cooking shows junkie, it's the granddaddy of them all. And I'm super fucking excited. Antonia Lofaso, that's the one who's still in the whole thing. Every one of them's a woman. The 4 champions, every finalist, no male chefs have ever made it to the finals, and I love that.
I don't like that because the stereotype that women belong in the kitchen sounds like it's correct for that show. They should be in there making me some of the best food I've ever had.
I've thought about that, but no, it's I mean, this
it's
is
a very male-dominated field, though.
It is. It is.
Despite that stereotype.
Like, that's the part that honestly is, like, even more so than all 4 people who have won it are women. The fact that no men have even made it into the finals. Man, that's I mean, yes, the irony of it being a cooking thing, but no, that's pretty dope.
Yeah. I kind of blanked out and was just thinking about shrimp Alfredo the whole time. I had really good shrimp Alfredo yesterday.
That's all of my non-horror things that I wanted to talk about.
Cool. We can get into literature then. The thing that I actually have some stuff to talk about.
You can get into literature. I can get medicated because I don't read books.
Perfect. I actually
reading. Please, who reads anymore?
I do. Look at my Wicked book. I wasn't going to talk about it on the show, but then we brought it up right before the literature section. It's got green pages, and it's gold front, and it's hardcover, and it smells great. I got that as a Christmas present, and that meant I had to reread it. So, have not finished it, so it did not count for my March numbers.
Michelle, I was going to ask you one thing, and I'm glad I got to it before we moved on too far. You did mention that the songs are a little bit more broken up in the Broadway show. I was going to ask you, because, again, I've never seen the show. Is there any music in the movie that is not in the show? Like, is there any original music that they wrote for the movie? I didn't notice any.
No, I don't think that there were any songs missing.
Sweet.
Between my one viewing of it when I was at the Orpheum and then my multiple times of listening to the CD as well, I remember the CD was accurate to what I had seen. So if they cut anything out, they cut out of that production too. So
cool.
As far as I know, there's nothing missing. Right. The musical that's missing music in the movie that makes me upset is Rent. Fuck them.
Yeah?
They removed my favorite part. It's like a 30-second music bit, and it's not in the movie, and it's very upsetting.
It's not the however many minutes or whatever, 500.
No, that one's definitely in there.
5,600. Oh, is it?
How many, or how do you measure a year? How about love? I love Rent.
I don't measure years. I live them. What the fuck is that?
You don't measure years? By saying years, you're already buying into the measurement that has been assigned to them.
So literature, Michelle.
Literature. Okay, I got two things. I was going to do this in a different order, but fuck it. It's been 24 hours, so I just physically moved the bullet point, and we're going to do it in this order now. Because I think I'm going to get angry, and I want to do that up front before I talk about the last one on my list. So, first off,
this should be good.
Well, I've had some time to think and derage a little bit. And it's not one that I should be angry about, but I am angry because it almost got the fucking point. It was so close, but then it was so fucking far away. I talked about how I started this book 2 years ago on the podcast, and then I ran into a friend who went, "Hey, did you ever finish that awful book that we both hate?" And I went, "Fuck, no, I didn't." Now, because Britta has reminded me that it exists, I need to go finish The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty by Anne Rice. And God, I fucking hate it.
You really have to, though?
I did, because it was partway done, and even if I have the book sitting in my pile for the rest of my life, I will not remove a book from the pile, and I did not want that one in the pile anymore. So here's the thing. For people who don't know, it's part of Anne Rice's The Sleeping Beauty Quartet, and she wrote them under the pseudonym of A.N. Roquelaure. Roquelaure. I don't know how you pronounce that.
I think it's Roquelaure.
Well, Anne Rice would have been easier, but I see why she didn't want her name associated with this. I mean, I actually do, but here's the thing. It is about, essentially a beauty, this beautiful princess based on Sleeping Beauty, and she is taken from her kingdom and brought to a different castle where all the lords and the lads and the princes and the princesses and the queen all have sex slaves. And it is supposed to be this really kinky BDSM book that people were like, "Oh, you think 50 Shades of Grey is intense? Go read The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty."
Oh, yeah. A.N. Roquelaure was specifically Anne Rice's porno book name, for sure.
Yes.
All of her porno books were written under that name.
That makes a lot of sense, because she was like, Interview with a Vampire, Dickin' with a Prince. They were different titles, and she couldn't do it. But here's the thing.
Dickin' with the Prince. I just
Dickin' with the
Prince. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So it starts in just the rapiest fashion, where I'm like, I can never get past this point to enjoy anything else, because there is stuff later in the book where I'm like, man, this would be really good if this didn't all constitute as a sex crime. But basically this prince just shows up and he's like, "Oh, Beauty, you gotta deal with it, but I'm taking you to my kingdom, and I'm going to teach you to be the best sex slave that you can." And he just like, there's a lot of spank in this book, like physical pain all the time. And then the whole thing, fuck it, I'm not gonna ruin it because it's just a sex book. And I'm not going to read the other two. I own them and I'm mad about it. I don't even have the full quartet. I bought it as a trilogy when I thought I was going to like it. Let's be honest, I'm probably gonna read the next two. And then I'll probably buy the fourth because I hate myself. But this book, it starts, she is not okay with this, and he's like, "Your tears turn me on so much," and he's like physically spanking her to show her obedience, and she does not consent to any of this whatsoever. And she goes to this castle, and then she learns that this is a thing where all of these different people from different kingdoms come to this castle, and then they're trained as sex slaves, and they rule there for a couple years alongside their person, and then they go back home, and it's like a sign of honor. But Beauty did not fucking sign up for this life, and it's all internal monologue where she's like, I wanted to please him, but at the same time I hated him, and I kept hoping that he would stop hitting me, and it hurt so badly, but yet I yearned for him. It's like, so close to understanding the point of BDSM. And what infuriates me is in the last 30 pages, she figures it out and still makes it rapey, because Beauty falls in love with a different prince than the prince that she's there with, but she still loves her prince. You know, the one who kidnapped her, forced her to ride naked on a horse back to his kingdom, spanked her in front of an innkeeper's daughter, made her crawl around on all fours like a dog eating her food to show her how to be obedient like a pet. That guy, she's like, yeah, he's pretty good. And I get that, because I have also been a single lady who thought I can fix him. But in this case, it was not possible. And so anyway, she meets this other guy, and they're both sex slaves, and he's teaching her the secret to be a good sex slave. And you just have to submit. And the thing is, and this is what like the whole BDSM thing is, and I'm not even a BDSM person, I just understand sex. The thing is, she wants to make him happy and proud, and even though it is a feat of physical and mental strength, it's like running a marathon where it kind of sucks in the moment, but when you get done, you're like, hell yeah, I did that, I dominated, this is the biggest high. People get their highs in different ways, and that is how those people get theirs, and cool, they can do that. But he starts teaching her basically that mentality, but it all comes down to, if you can't do that, you're not going to survive here, and you're going to hate your life. And so I'm like, okay, so it's just Stockholm syndrome. She has to force herself to enjoy the sexual assault in order to survive it. And you are so close to getting the point, Anne Rice. You are so close, but it's just rape. The entire book is rape.
I told y'all that was gonna be good.
I didn't realize I was going to get that mad. I thought I had gotten it out of my system. But I'm extra mad because I'm like, I can't read this book. It's just rapey, and I think she misses the point. But then the last bit of the book, no, she clearly gets the point and wrote it this way anyway.
That's, I have real interesting and weird and complicated thoughts about, BDSM and violent or aggressive or whatever you want to call it sexual behaviors. I have a clinical fascination with them, and I agree with you. Anybody who, I mean, as long as consent is always present and nobody ever removes your ability to remove consent, as long as consent is always respected, then do whatever you want. But there's also a part of me that's like, how is that what you want to do? Because I've seen some shit, right? And I've seen some shit and then watched people, when it was done, be like, oh my God, that was the greatest experience of my life.
Yep.
And it's a very complicated thing, and I think a lot of, I did look, and apparently the first 3 of these books came out in the mid 80s, 83, 84, 85, I think. So I'd like to think, at least to a certain extent, our attitudes and our understandings have improved. But then,
oh, for sure. But fuck
have
this
you
book.
read? Have you read 50 Shades? Is that any better than this, or is that
50 Shades
Super
is very
Problems
tame.
too? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, 50 Shades isn't even like, not in comparison to the Sleeping Beauty books.
It's
very tame. I had read much lustier books when I was 14 years old.
Yeah,
I have one called The
that makes
Lover.
sense.
That is a great fucking book, and it's about this French lady who's in kind of the same situation, except fucking consensual. And that's when I learned that La Petite Mort is the Little Death,
yeah, Little
aka
Death.
French for orgasm, when I was 14 years old. And that was a better book than 50 Shades of Grey, and much better at BDSM.
But, like, so far as, like, does it actually understand the difference between this and just straight up rape? Because
No, 50 Shades of Grey definitely does not understand consent. And that's why this one bothers me even more, because the people who told me I would like this are like, Oh man, 50 Shades of Grey does not understand consent, and it's very tame. You should read The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty. Now that's a spicy, sexy book. And I'm like, okay, 50 Shades of Grey does not understand consent. Claiming of Sleeping Beauty is straight rape. It is well-written rape. It's really well-written. But it is sexual assault for 235 pages.
That is a blurb that should go on the book cover.
It's well-written
really
rape.
well-written rape. Michelle
It's
Roller.
so upsetting. Also, when it gets hot,
I don't. Let me be clear. I'm not laughing at the concepts we're talking about here, but Jesus,
I never thought you were.
I know. Well, I want to make that clear for anybody who might be listening. But holy shit, what a hilarious line! Oh,
I mean, I gotta give her credit where credit's due. It's really well written. Also, like, half the BDSM stuff is spanking. There is so much gratuitous spanking in very heavy detail. And halfway through the book, I was like, God, can somebody else just do something else to her for a while, please? I got so tired of the word buttocks
Jesus,
and the
not
description.
A nipple clamp to be found anywhere? Fuck.
There was definitely that too, but it always came back to she got
Butts.
spanked at some point during this, and it was very intense with different options for things that they used and different positions that, like, every encounter she has a spanking session, and I know what Anne Rice was into, I guess, because it's very vivid. And, like, at one point, the prince is praising the Lord for being able to spank him in such a way that his whip lands directly underneath the buttocks and lifts the cheek just a little bit and grazes his asshole. Like, it's that kind of book, and there's so much spanking. It would have been half as long if there was just, like, one spanking session.
So,
But that is what they love the
basically-
most.
Is basically Anne Rice just doing her best Marquis de Sade impersonation?
You know what? This definitely has some Sodom. I always forget how many.
Sadism,
Yeah, but like how many
not
days?
Sodom.
But how many days to Sodom?
Oh, you mean Salo?
Solo. Thank
Salo,
you.
the 120 Days of Sodom? No, I was talking about the Marquis de Sade as in sadism, like the guy who wrote all those books about like that's where the term sadism comes from. Do you know who I'm talking about, Michelle?
No, I totally thought you were talking about the Salo guy, and I don't remember his name either.
You don't know the Marquis de Sade?
Marquis de Sade.
Sade, S-A-D-E.
Yep, Marquis de Sade. French
Oh my
writer,
God.
nobleman. Yeah, it says the 120 Days of Sodom on Wikipedia with him.
Oh.
So there's not a crazy.
Okay, so I didn't know it was a book. I thought I only know the 120 Days of Sodom from the movie. So I got you now. Okay, so
I
you
am
do know
so
the
proud that I knew a thing you didn't. Do you know how rare that is? And then, of
I
course,
know.
it's a book thing. Never mind.
Of course, yeah. I mean, Big Book Nerd Bertha. Of course, you understood.
Big book nerd. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't read 120 Days of Sodom. Now I kind of want to, just so I can get mad about that or feel indifferent to it. I'm not going to like it. But
have you seen the Marquis de Sade movie called Quills?
no.
It's like a movie about him and his life. I saw it once. I don't remember anything about it. I don't even know why I brought it up. Let's move on.
I hope it has hedgehogs.
It does not.
Oh, well, I'm not fucking interested then.
That's your standard now for everything. If it doesn't have a hedgehog, get it the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I've had
Well, I
3
guess this-
hedgehogs, listener, if you didn't know, and I love them all. And when Perpin died, it was one of the saddest moments of my life. Died on my fucking birthday, and I went to the zoo and I cried hysterically in front of the monkeys. And I was like, I should not be here. I'm surrounded by animals, and that's like my happiest place. But it was a really sad day. It's one of the worst days of my life, and it was my fucking birthday. My hedgehog died while I was 4 hours away celebrating my birthday.
Aw.
Yeah.
My
Anyway.
my little Kevin mouse died while I was in Texas.
Is it because you were in Texas, or was that just a weird...
No, he
coincidence?
was being cared for by other people, but no, he just
I
died.
didn't think it was a neglect thing. I thought you just got to Texas and God was like, you should not be there.
No, well, what I'm saying is I didn't just leave the mouse alone at home
didn't
while I
think
went
you
to
did.
Texas for a week.
No, of course
Well,
you would not.
you asked, is it because you went to Texas? And I assumed you meant, is it because you just left him alone for a week?
No, it's, well, I guess that would be a fair assumption. But no, I went way crazier and went, did God smite you for going to Texas?
Oh God. Well, I see. You're
Yeah.
making a commentary on Texas. I gotcha.
Yeah, not on mouse neglect.
Mouse neglect.
Okay, I
That's
have
my new
1.5
punk
more
band,
books.
Mouse Neglect.
Mouse Neglect. Well written rape by Mouse Neglect.
You gotta stop saying that, Michelle. Oh my
New
God.
tattoo. Okay, so my other book is actually a horror book. Getting into it was a month. I had to just read some stuff to make me feel things, and I had a wide variety at my disposal. So this one, our friend Sam, who listens to the podcast, hi Sam, he had mentioned to me, I don't think he recommended a book to me, but he had mentioned he was reading a book, and I think he even followed it up with, I don't think you'd like it. And of course, if I hear a book is incredibly dirty or horrific or upsetting, and then the phrase, I don't think you'll like it, it becomes the next book that I read. And I did read it. And I did not like it, but I did not know that at the time. I felt very strange about it because I liked the first half so much that I then went, and I'm deliberately not naming it or the author because it is a small person, like not I'm sure they still have like a job and this is a side thing, or if not, like they're scraping by, like it's not a Stephen King thing. So I feel bad picking on a very, like not well-known author when I sought out his work. But then I read another book and I went, oh no, this confirms I did not like the first book. But it did introduce me to a new genre I was not familiar with, which is basically just like brutal films, but in book style. And then I made a list. And one of those books, on a whim, I bought and I read, and holy shit, it's upsetting, but it's really, really good in a way that I did not expect. When I was like, I'm just going to read some fucked up books this month. And then I went, that one's actually really interesting and had some important messages. The book Cows by Matthew Stokoe. One of the reasons I had to buy this is because when I went to look up a description of what was in this book, I found nothing. I only found reviews from people talking about how much they liked it or how upsetting it was, and not much in between. And then I went, fuck, well, I have to buy this physical book, and the cover is a picture of a cow, and I love cows, so that's great. I'm just going to tell you the very basic plot summary in case you're like me and you want to know, and of course I'm not going to spoil it, but it is about a man who has a very bad home life and gets his job, his first job working at a cow plant. I don't know what they're called. Back home, we lived right by a turkey plant that processed turkeys. I don't know if they're called cow plants, but where they bring cows and they slaughter them and then they process them and deliver them.
They call that a slaughterhouse.
I thought there was also a different word for it, though. Does it become slaughterhouse when it's cows, but turkey plant? Because the turkey plant was never called a slaughterhouse. Does the size of the animal change
You keep
it?
talking. I'll do some digging.
Okay, because this is a question that I had, because I was trying to think, I'm like, is it a cow plant? I lived by a turkey plant. Smelled awful. Explains a lot about my life. If you need to know, like, I wonder what Michelle's financial situation was growing up. We lived by a turkey plant. It was awful. But anyway, so he gets a job at a slaughterhouse. Yes.
You might be thinking of a meat packing plant or a packing house. But yeah, so it's kind of the slaughterhouse and the meat packing plant usually all go hand in hand in a
meat packing plant sounds right.
Yeah, meat
I just
packing.
know it was definitely
Like the
called
Green
turkey
Bay
plant
Packers.
by
That's why the
everybody.
Green Bay Packers are called the Green Bay Packers, because there was a lot of meat packing industry there.
Really?
Yeah,
I feel like there's some really off-color jokes you can make about that.
meat packing.
Yep.
Yeah, I got you.
Meat packing plant, that was what they called me in high school. So anyway, this guy, he gets a job working at a slaughterhouse. God, JD just looks so disapproving in a way that like my dad probably would if he listened to this podcast.
Well, that's good stuff.
So he gets a job working at a slaughterhouse, and basically it's his understanding, or him beginning to understand what it means to take the life of another and how that would change a person. And this is his journey through that discovery. And it's fucked up, but the thing is, it wasn't as edgy as I thought it was going to be. And then halfway through I went, wait, what the fuck? This is not the book that I thought it was. And it becomes something else. And then I was just delighted in a, like, for those who have seen The Substance, it does a turn that dramatically where I'm like, and for other people, maybe it's not that dramatic. But to me, I was like, this is now a different book that I also like, but is not the book I was originally reading. But anyway, Cows by Matthew Stokoe. I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think it's because the main character was somebody I liked. He wasn't just like somebody out there doing fucked up shit to people and I'm reading it from his perspective, like an American Psycho kind of thing. This was somebody who, like, he had feelings and emotions that he didn't like a lot of this stuff. And I think that made it something that I enjoyed.
Awesome.
So Cows by Matthew Stokoe.
Are you looking into more books from that? Was it a company or a series or something?
By this guy?
No, you like.
Oh,
you
the other
something...
guy that I've read that I won't name.
You said something about how you found this book. Were you just sent a couple of books to check out? I thought there was something to do with like a publisher.
I know what you're talking about. I learned about a new genre, which is like called like splatter horror or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's
I found a list of books. No, I know, but I'm saying like this very specific, like people vomiting into each other's mouths, described in great detail in a book. Like that is this kind of stuff. Although Cows does not get to that level, and thank God, but some of the other ones I've read definitely have.
I guess.
Yeah.
To me, when you've actually seen somebody vomit into somebody else's mouth, like what could they possibly say in the description?
The description, you know how I do with anything. Oh, I'm trying not to like dry heave, but you know how I am. I am a sympathetic vomiter. Like I have had friends throw up at my house after getting drunk, and I've been like, okay, bye, and gone to the other level of the house opposite from wherever they are. And my husband has to go check on them, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I would like to be the good friend who holds your hair back, but we will both be throwing up if I stay here and I hear you, and I'm sorry. Like I can't help it. It's one of the reasons I decided not to have kids, because if they throw up, I'm throwing up too, and then we have a problem. And they do that a lot. It's one of the things I know about kids.
They're gonna puke.
Yeah, I'm the oldest of 5. I know that's oh God. Anyway, but so reading it in a book, whenever I get to that part, I skip a couple paragraphs. I just read the first line until it's over. I do skip that part of these books there's a lot of vomit in Cows, but luckily I could skip a couple pages. There's some animal abuse that I was like slaughterhouse, but there was a dog abuse situation that fucking broke my heart in a way that I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to read this. But again, I like the main character and I like the dog, so it made up for it somehow. Okay, I have one more book.
Quick correction, by the way.
Yeah.
They weren't called the Green Bay Packers because there was a lot of meat packing around that area. This is actually kind of interesting. They were called the Green Bay Packers because when the team was being founded, the founders got the Indian Packing Company, which was a meat packing company. They got them to pay for their uniforms, and they've just been the Packers ever since. And this company, the Indian Packing Company, by the way, only existed between 1919 and 1921, and they paid for those uniforms in like 1920. So it's like that's their history. We started the company, we bought some uniforms to have an NFL team named after us for the rest of forever, and then we went out of business.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know why I got so caught up in that.
It's good. I just went to the place I went to when you were talking about food earlier.
Oh, cool.
Football.
What's
My
the
last
other book?
one I have not gotten through, but I just want to talk about this book a little bit because I've actually been delving into some of my nonfiction with the state of the world. I've been, there's some stuff that was in my library that I was like, well, right now it feels like a good time to go back to this one. So this is a nonfiction book about something that people probably know a little something about. And it is called the very depressing name of We Wish to Inform You That Tomorrow We Will Be Killed with Our Families. Stories from Rwanda by Philip Gorovich. And here's the thing. I knew about the Rwandan genocide. I did not know very much about it. I did not know it was 800,000 people. I'm in America where we're ignorant and they did not teach us this in school. I'm happy they taught us about the Holocaust, but that's about it. And everything else, they're just like, America's great. That's all we care about. The Civil War was just a minor dispute where people just disagreed a little bit.
They taught us about some parts of the Holocaust.
Our school was pretty graphic and was like, this is really bad. But yes, there are still some things where I'm like, oh.
The point I'm making is that there was a lot of overlooking of all the LGBTQ people who were killed, and a lot of
They talked about that at my school.
Did they? Well, they didn't at my school.
Well, I guess we had different types of teachers who felt different ways.
I'm just older enough than you that I still got the bigot history.
Actually, that probably makes a lot of sense because I'm like,
probably
yeah,
exactly what it is.
Class up.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what it is we're just on that cusp.
Exactly. And speaking of just on that cusp, so the Rwandan genocide, I thought this was a good thing to read right now because it happened in the 90s. It did not happen that long ago, which to me, the 90s was 5 years ago, and I feel upset when I remember it's 20 plus years ago, at least 25, because it is 2025. But it didn't happen that long ago. And for people to assume that this could never happen anywhere else is naive, to say the least. I don't think we're going to have this happen tomorrow. These things build up. But I do think it's interesting to read this book with interviews from people who even committed these murders and condoned them. And there's a pastor who let his entire congregation of Tutsis die and just said, well, you have to accept your fate. And then fled, and he was fine. He condoned and knew what was happening. That's where the title of the book comes from. Is one of his congregation wrote to him and said, we wish to inform you that tomorrow we will be killed with our families. Can you do something, bro? And he went, no. And it's these people just being unabashedly unashamed of what they did, and it's because they managed to other another group of people and say those people are lesser than us, and it does not matter whether they die or not. And it's not about hatred, it's about indifference. And while reading this, I started thinking to myself, I don't think this is going to happen tomorrow in America, but I do think that if the government was like, hey, nobody will find out about this. We don't have to ship people to other prisons. We can save money and just kill those people instead. And you won't have to spend any money and you'll get rid of these people that you find to be a problem. I think there's a lot of people who might be like, yeah, okay, because they're lesser than us. And it does not matter. And that indifference is the beginning steps of that kind of situation. And that makes me nervous. And I like to know bad things that have happened to hopefully not repeat them again. But the othering spoken about in this book is very similar to a lot of speech I've heard recently, and it actually made me very nervous in a way that I did not think I was gonna feel. I thought I was just gonna read a historical book and be like, oh, let me go read something sad happening to other people for a while. And plus, it's a good book. It's just very depressing, and sometimes I like those. But as I was reading it, I went, oh no, I'm drawing a lot of parallels that I did not think. I just wanted to learn about a subject I don't know very much about.
It's interesting to me because there are those people who have this idea that that's not at the very least that's not a thing that happens often, or it only happened I would wager to say that I'm not going to say necessarily every single day for all of human history, but I would wager that more days than not, and significantly more days than not, there has been a genocide being committed, some ethnic cleansing being committed somewhere in the world all the time. So the idea that this is not so, it's wild to me, just like it is to you, that it's oh, that couldn't happen. What are you talking about? It almost did happen here once before. In fact, it has happened here. I mean, what are you... People are so fucking blind to this shit, and it's terrifying.
begin being blind, I think I just realized that this entire second half of the episode has been recorded via my webcam and not my microphone.
Why is that?
Because I just looked at Audacity when I muted it, because I was like, it's really picking up my my water bottle, the ice in it, and then I realized I'm muted. How is it picking up the audio of the ice in my water bottle? But I think it's okay if you can hear me just fine. It's gonna just sound a little bit different to others, and they heard the first half in good quality, and you know what? Fuck them. It's my show. My name's in it.
Sounds good to me.
So yeah, sorry everybody.
Look, we've already been through so much editing on this episode. If you think I'm gonna make some timestamps and cut that little rant out, you got another thing coming. They just gotta listen to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to force them to listen to it. I had to do it, so they have to listen to it. That's the rule. But yeah, anyway, I will be finishing within the month. We wish to inform you that tomorrow we will be killed with our family, stories from Rwanda, and I'm going to feel really sad about it. That's the one that I had told you I wanted to postpone Michelle in review in order to see if I could finish,
okay.
but I can only do it in chunks.
That's fair.
It's a lot, because it is this guy who went to interview people who lived through it and people who did it, and he also went to a lot of the sites with the corpses and describes like what he sees there and how people are so indifferent they didn't even bury these people and they like played with the bodies and shit. Like, it's fucked up. Obviously 800,000 people died, but goddamn, it's really bad.
Fucking heavy.
Yeah, that's my closing thoughts on that. Rwandan genocide was really bad.
Michelle, first of all, no, I don't have anything to talk about in literature because I don't fucking read. What a dumb thing. Books.
I didn't even ask.
Get out of here. I know, right? Do you have any more segments that we need to go through?
No, that's it.
Oh, because I was going to say, I just did a quick look, and this Michelle in review is rapidly coming up on 2.5 hours. So,
it does have to cut out part where you went to let your dog out.
Right.
So
well,
it cuts a little bit.
Okay, so it might be more like 2:15, 2:20.
Yeah. I told you it was a chunky. It
was a big
month
episode
for me.
It was a big
Delicious,
one. People
chunky
will
one.
love it. They'll be like, I get 2.5 hours of Michelle in review. That's dope as hell. And they'll be right.
And then there's gonna be one guy named Gary, and he's gonna be like, 2.5 hours of Michelle in review. I hate this, and then he's gonna listen to the whole thing anyway.
Well, first of all, if you did listen to the whole thing anyway, take that. Fuck you, Gary. We got you.
They've gotten me again.
Ooh, burn. Also, though, if this is the first time you've ever listened to one of our episodes and you made it this far, holy shit, well done.
Yeah, good job, you.
It's not always 2.5 hours, and it's not always real weird. So,
If
well,
this
who
is
am I
your
kidding? It's
first
always real
episode-
weird.
If this is your first episode and you made it to this point, message the Facebook page and I will mail you some squelching stickers. I'm not
Yeah.
joking.
Michelle will
do
send
it.
you some promo.
If you're like, this Easter egg is where I learned about your show and I stuck around, I'll send you some stickers. Fuck it.
This episode is gonna drop, and the because the Michelle in review has a very devoted and vocal audience amongst the various things we do. And I think those people are going to see 2.5 or, even 2:20, and they're going to be like, oh, I won the lottery. That sort of like shining light, like the fucking briefcase in Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction, by the way, to bring it back around to another thing, that's one of the, pretty much the only Palme d'Or winner that I really, really, really love. There are a few others that I enjoy and I kind of respect: MASH, Taxi Driver, Apocalypse Now. But the only Palme d'Or winner at Cannes that I've ever been just like over the moon about was Pulp Fiction.
Oh, I'm so glad we got to the segment where you just list movies that have won awards that you liked. I was so worried that we wouldn't get that. I'm a little sad you didn't save it for the Patreon and make people pay for that good content.
It only happened because it was a thing we talked. Fuck you.
I know.
I'm sorry.
It's
Oh,
fair.
wow. It's been a... No, not fair.
It's been a day. Yeah,
It's
sure
been a day. Are we gonna record the other episode tonight, Michelle?
Probably. It's only 12:23,
right.
and I drank a Red Bull. Gave me wings.
I'm in the process of drinking a Monster, so
See,
yeah.
we're healthy individuals. 12:30 a.m. Pump me full of that taurine and Guanadar.
Well, I didn't. Look, let's be fair though. I didn't roll out of bed until 2:00 in the afternoon, so a Monster at midnight is not that big of a deal.
I've been up since 7 a.m. and I worked a full day and I finished my homework and then I went to a laser show at MSUM.
Yes,
and then
Michelle,
I chased the Moorhead turkeys.
We get it. You're a try-hard. You do more than all of us. I get it. Say goodnight,
I'm just reminding
Michelle.
myself that all happened this same day. I had to put on real clothes. Sucked. Real pants. Hard pants, even. Hard pants. On a no-bones day, you can't wear hard pants. But apparently it was a no-bones day and I chose hard pants anyway. That means nothing to 90% of the people out there, but the 10% who do, they're like, oh, I love Noodle. R.I.P. Okay. Well, I'm just... Okay. Good night, Michelle.